one, and you are on.
Well, hello and welcome wherever you are from the four corners of our common planet. This is Angora Poets, World Cafe, and I'm one of the poets. My name is Mo Singer, and I'll be hosting us tonight. Um, Tonight, Angora Poets is not only doing this Zoom, which we will record and present to you for your listening and watching pleasure by tomorrow or the next day. But we're also on live right now. So, which is to say, if you've been with us for a while, we are sort of growing. And we're happy about that because, well, we've been catching on in some corners, particularly, well, primarily because of the caliber of our poets. So, be prepared tonight to hear poets who have different voices, different styles, uh, living in different cities, different countries. And for sure, later when some other poets come on, you'll be hearing poetry rendered in their first language, which is not English, with a brief explanation of what the poem is about before they read. And that's who we are, and that's why we're a World Cafe. So again, I welcome you to this session of Angora Poets, and I'd like to kick this evening off with a man who we from New Jersey, Bill Stragmire, if I may say, lives in Paris and has published several chapbooks. I've collected them all, and he's read far and wide through Paris and elsewheres. And this New Jerseyite has been at home in Paris for several years now, and we affectionately call Bill the Judge because he can render some opinions. So, with that in mind, I'd like to begin tonight with readings by Bill Stragmire.
Thank you, Mo. For the first one, I have a quote from Ursula K. Le Guin, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, is a short story. Trouble is that we have a bad habit encouraged by pedants and sophisticates of considering happiness as something rather stupid. Only pain is intellectual, only evil interesting. This is the treason of the artist, a refusal to admit the banality of evil and the terrible boredom of pain. I call this That Only Drop of Water, brusquely. What I seek is the tenor of a woman's singing voice in this whorish world, for that's the redemption, the transport I feel when the illusion's good, but sometimes find the only temperature and recipe the burnt and curled. Are we just subject to the money and the dismal anger, their food? The meanings and the puns of investment as a word are whittled down to just the barest pairing of a banker's lunch, adorned for freaks and fiends with drafted cages and engraved into the body politic in brown, tattooed fetters chained to other values, all pestilential, foul, unclean. How many feel the blasphemous religions that are now for sale at cheap? The banging iron music of the stalker's chomping curse-pied teeth. The meaning now of government as murderers' looming shadows creep towards the lambs, the pigeons, normal folk, and sheep all seeking only peace. But still, relief from that depravity comes daily, crowded round by other souls and wills. The planetary sickness of humanity has balm and cure, both held within a note, a trill.
Okay, Bill, well, let's start the applause meter. Hey, all right. What I want to know is, do you think we are lambs and sheep, as you mentioned in that poem,
Who do you vote for?
Bill? I, I just want, okay, don't back me in that corner. I simply want to know, do you think we've been reduced? There's a lot of accusations made about who are we consumers? Are we products? Are we just simply sheep that follow, a misguided shepherd?
We must
And I
be
was wondering, yes, yes,
citizens.
David.
Citizens.
Well, the line is the lambs, the pigeons, normal folk, and sheep, all seeking only peace. There are normal folk too. Uh, but
I'm glad to hear that.
you know, if you're willing to accept it, they'll suck your blood out. You know.
Good enough. That was your statement, Judge. Would you
Hold on, guys. I'm not hearing a thing.
We are.
Oh, okay. Now we're fine. Okay.
Okay.
Don't want to lose you, Mo.
Okay. More from a newspaper article in
Go ahead, Bill.
2006. More than 25 years ago, Professor Dan Everett, then a missionary and now an ethnologist at the University of Manchester, decided to try to teach members of the obscure Pirahia tribe how to count. He would not succeed. Instead, he found a world without numbers, without time, one where people appeared to hum and whistle rather than speak. The linguistic limitations of this carpe diem culture explain why the Pirahã have no desire to remember where they come from and why they tell no stories. The Pirahã's grammar, he argues, comes from their culture, not from any pre-existing mental template. Call this American Idol. I am saved and saved from time. My eyes are sealed and crusted o'er, and so I cannot see the gloom. There are the lie, there be his truth, the golden calf burns in its bush, and I can only name the names of roots, I'm told, of fear and pain that comes straight down to just a name. The name is fear. Fear gets me high, and in my jungle that is good, and then I forget that I might die.
Well, thanks for reminding us of our own mortality, Bill.
Is
And
that an issue?
okay, so that tribe you were talking about would seem to me if I was living in an isolated tribe, I would be perfectly suited and comfortable for, let's just say, compared to a Webster's dictionary, less vocabulary and less communication. But I don't necessarily think they have it over me or us because I voluntarily live in an urban world, and if I could be just so wise that I could only have a 5-word vocabulary, that'd be fun. But complexities of life demand that poets like yourself, say a range of things in language.
Mm. I called it American Idol.
Mm. Okay. Can we hear Three's a Charm?
Yeah. I don't think I've read this recently. On the Pont Marie. There's something in a winter's chill that's sharp and pure as a razor's slice when you float above a bright river's sluice like a tree full of pine needle frosted jewels, like gridded and straightened starry night whorls. It runs away like a brush, like the brush, and it prickles your sight and it glows with a blush, and the river is shining and glowing with worlds. That hazy, slow afternoon is far, so dim I fear its pastel ghost. Its comfort's inexplicable now. It's lost on the other side of the year. What was once enjoyed at such great cost that zero now is the law.
Okay, here we go. All right. Zero now is the law. What would you mean by zero now is the law?
Nothing's happening. It's locked down. Confinement.
Okay. It sure is. Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you, and we'll hear from you later, as we will hear from all the poets in the second round. Thank you, Judge. And now I'd like to move from Paris. I believe I'm moving to Germany. Would that be right, Mr. Mervyn C., right? So you're in Germany this evening. And Mervyn has been on board with us for some times now. And, well, we appreciate him as someone who has grown up in Europe and knows the American experience. He has a foot in both cultures. So I'd like to bring you on. Hello, Mervyn, you're on.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna start you with a piece called Ice Pusher Cream Man. Faint wind brings the truck's familiar jingle. Foul and sweet smells explodes joyful taste buds, dried up buds for children in elementary, junior high, high school, dripping, melting flavors of ice cream, ice. At the school bus stop exchange, children in waves get their sugar and product. From early morning time, late night, selling not only soft serve ice cream, scat, and sauce, selling Klondike Chip Witch and skunk, strawberry shortcakes, chocolate eclairs, and Benny's in a bunch, ice cream sandwich, blow pops, and oxy, drumsticks, no cones, and red birds to fly. This wasn't an ordinary product supply. His attire was basic, wife beater vest, rough, thinned out hair with cut off pants and beer belly, scraggy beard to his chest. Mornings, afternoons before school buses would show. I never heard the van jingle, kids already planned to go. To him before a short walk home, late to getting home, and spend leftover lunch change or cash they made, investing, a pusher man story, a capitalist paid.
A pusher man story, a capitalist fate. That was a strong way to go out, Mervyn. Were you suggesting some of those names that we were mixing? That the in that narration there's a mixture of drugs with ice cream.
Pretty much. So it's a contrapuntal poem. So it's got the two different columns, and one to the negative, the other pushes to the traditional. So separately in that same way. But
okay, cool.
Yeah, but that was the ice cream man at my high school. So down in Miami.
And that's real. That's like three guys smoking weed. The next thing you know, they're ordering a large pizza. It's real. Okay, could we hear your second poem, please?
Okay, this goes to my homeland, where my family comes from in Jamaica. It's called Between Maroon Mountains. In the heart of Jamaica, my family settled between lush mountain forest next to pothole roads, snaking fertile terrain, soil filled with yam, plantain, banana, far from tourist-soaked beach clubs and hotels, away from the cities where myriads of people filled streets, peaceful place, where pre-dawn rain pounds the banana leaves in syncopated beats, easing sleeping spirits to awaken in its warmth joyfully. Sounds before sun rises, whispers, sweet machete motions against yam plants, feet shifting on dirt paths to market, to school. Outside, village folks are peeling fresh ackee for saltfish breakfast, bartering on the streets for bright colored pumpkin, chocho, callaloo, mango, potato. In shops, my nose heightens to sweet raisin-filled spice bun, bulla and rum cakes, hard dough and cocoa bread. Near a high plateau, look deep into my home, green valley, place-wise casket houses, generations of my family protected by cement from flesh-eating earthworms, patchwork monuments in maroon mountains, ancestors, and Wassup wind sings of our land.
That's a nice tribute. I could see that and want me to take a look at those maroon mountains. It's very nice. Do you get homesick for Jamaica, Mervyn?
I grew up more in England. I mean, because I was born in London. But when I get there, I feel like I am home. So my father, 2011, so I haven't been back to that area since. Hopefully when things calm down, we're hoping to get back to Jamaica because my wife is from there also. So we do have a family house on her side.
Oh, how nice. That's good. Yeah, let's hope when things calm down. And when you go back, when you went back in 11, I've heard from Italian Americans, when they go back to Italy, they could have left Italy 5 years prior, and then you go back speaking fluent dialect, whatever region they're from, and knowing the village or the city, and they find that once they've left for the States, in their case, their former village neighbors say, no, you're not Italian anymore, you American. So
Jamaicans are like
we're
that.
going to charge you American prices for those shoes,
Yeah,
Rocco.
Jamaicans are very much like that.
Very much, yeah.
They'll call you foreign eye as soon as you leave. So,
I know when I went back to my hometown, Pittsburgh, I lived in New York afterwards, but when I went back to hometown Pittsburgh, people, I thought I was just blending right in with everybody. And I got some of that. So you're a Parisian. And I went, well, yeah, now I live in Paris. No, but you're a Parisian now. Wait a minute. We grew up together. Yeah, but you're a Parisian now. And it's a mixed blessing to hear that in my ears. But that's the way it goes when we travel. Okay, did we hear Three's a Charm from you?
Just one thing. The first time I went back to Jersey after I moved here, there was a guy who started calling me Frenchy. Another one told me I had a French accent. You hear the French accent?
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, man. My French is fried. Yeah, say that. Are you French now? Yeah. Oui, monsieur. My French is fried. Okay. So are we going to hear Three's a Charm now, Marvin?
yeah.
Please.
This was written about Louisville, not the recent stuff in Louisville. Wrote this a little bit ago. It's called Today I Walked Through Cave Hill Cemetery. Today I walked between weeping kissors, listening to Duppy speaking in syncopated waves, tree leaves breezing as Morse code connections. Walking in grass seams, my eyes blend to stone names, wind of the Duppies fleeting in syncopated waves. Petrified memories as woodlogs, loved family dogs. I walked in grass seams with eyes blending stone names. Today, I walked between a bumblebee zipping away, petrified cranes and woodlogs, loved family dogs. A robin laying in the grass lets air declutter its wings. Today, I walked around bumblebee zipping, near carved ivy, tethering bones to spirits of past. A robin laying in the grass lets air declutter its wings. Today, I walked among the gray stones and statues, next to carved ivy, tethering bones to spirits of past. Poor statured lives cling to earth's lime, moss for embrace. Today, I walked among gray stones and statues, sculptured ivy, tethering spirits to headstones. Poor statured lives cling to earth's lime moss for embrace. I wind around white wildflowers and with trampled feet, sculpting ivy, tethering spirits to headstones. Today, I walked around rainbow refractions. I wind around white wildflowers with trampling feet, ants building cities in Roman line foundations. Today, I walked around rainbow refractions, living ivy tethers spirits to the living in winds, ants building cities in Roman line foundations. Ivy-shaped window carved deep in a tree, living ivy tethers spirits to the living in winds. Tree leaves breezing as Morse code connections. Ivy-shaped window carved deep in a tree. Weeping Casoras Whispers went silent. I left the marble sea.
Wow. Yes, applause meter. That was very nice. Thank you so much. That was so
Excellent.
picturesque, you know. Matt, you spoke about robins. I'm a bird watcher and a bird lover, actually. And you spoke about robins, and it came to my mind that Louisville likes to call its prized basketball team the Cardinals. Are we
Right.
to know that there's a lot of cardinals out there as well? Birds?
In this case scenario, this was me walking around the cemetery, and that's what I saw during that time. And I used a Pantone because it's like there was the constant images. It seemed like they vibrated to me. So to me, the Pantone seemed really good to kind of pull in that imagery with that poem.
Okay. Well, you certainly did a good job of expressing that imagery to us. So thank you very much for that. Very, very much. Okay. So now we're going to move from Germany way, way west of there to the, as Jack Kerouac called it, the end of the American continent, which would be San Francisco. And we're going to call on our San Francisco poet, Dane Ince, to read for us now. And hello, Dane, you're on.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, good. I have to do everything in a precise order in order to get everything to work the way it's supposed to. And then even still, sometimes it doesn't do that. Issues with the technology.
Hey, Dane, let me just interject for 1 second because I just want to read. I just want to read a couple of lines from the Facebook Live. We have Tito Slam Station, who was like, hello, Angora Poets, good vibes to you, big up, bro. And we also have Carrie Biddy from Scotland, who's telling us that she's had a couple of crisp, sunny days this weekend. When asked about the weather. So we are being cheered on the live, and right now people are watching us. So, ladies and gentlemen, know that you are watched.
Uh-oh.
Back to you, Dave.
I hope it's in a good way. Sidewalk. Go ahead.
We could call ourselves the little engine that could. Anyway, I want to thank you, Tito Slam, who lives in Paris and is one hell of a rapping poet, and his son was our Angora Poets' youngest ever poet reader at the age of, I think it was like 10 years old. And I handed him the microphone. I think it was the first or second Angora Poets we did 3 years ago. And he just said, I'll take that. I'm ready. Here, step aside. And he was like a young Amy Winehouse or a young Lady Gaga. He just knew what he wanted to do. As soon as I thought I was coaxing him, he was going, give me the mic, old man. I'm ready to go. And that's a compliment. It's a compliment. And to you, lady, up in Scotland, thank you for tuning in. And hope your days are sunny and bright, even though they're going to reflect a little bit of the chill. All right. So, Dane, back to you, please.
All right. Sidewalk. Put the mouth in your mind around these words. Feel the taste of the state beats women in Portland. Remember the mouthfeel, the bouquet, the aftertaste on tongue. Now swallow. Opus a day comes out not so easy, frayed a little around the edges. Anyone tired, weary of no solution, dumbly proud of red, white, and blue, black and blue, beating. What kind of a man is a man who thinks that, does like that? No, man. I tried to woo her every possible way. No attention, just another assault on her castle, on her perfect excuse to keep her loneliness company, her own very empire. She dispensed its bounty without interference from any ruined man. Marlo says, that's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just did not land like a butterfly on blossom. Really, the arrow of Eros rips the flesh, wounds, sounds, someday scars, or always bleeds bloody pus. Try now solo sonata, stumble like a new dance, old dance new. Take it off, my coat, take it off. Fold it like a pillow on the sidewalk, outside the fairy tale. What is a bad man? Just a pattern for this man while he dreams on how not to be.
Ooh, whoa, okay. Yeah. Hey, Dane,
Yes,
you said something very intriguing to me that I suffer from. You said, what was it? Staying alone and keeping my loneliness company.
did I say that? If I
Yeah,
did, that was an ad lib that came
yeah.
out somewhere in between while I was
Hey,
searching.
he gave you a good line. I
Uh,
say keep it.
oh,
Stand alone with
I'd
my.
say keep it, man. I'd say keep it.
Okay, well, we'll do that. Yeah.
Well, good, because when I've been lonely, it's true. You go into this kind of dark company where I might say in my brain, wow, I'm really lonely. And then I'll say back to myself, are you really? Yeah, I think I am. And, I could be hospitalized for that. But thank goodness I'm a poet, so I get a pass on that kind of stuff. So, okay,
Poetic.
Dane,
Sorry.
would you give us your second poem, please?
Yes. Yes. This is morning prayer facing east. The earth is a candle. The candle is burning. Who is brought low? Who is left to sit for 7 days to honor, to commemorate, to remember, to memorialize our beloved? Who says cottage for Ruth, for America, for Earth? I beg forgiveness for the appropriation, for your deafness, for your hate, for your fear. I beg forgiveness for whatever I have done that brings me and us here. And lo, I sit here for 7 days praying for the better way to go. I have an adjustment to make here. The Torah tells us that all Jews are one, and they may recite the Kaddish for another if and when needed. The Buddha tells us we are all one. So I'm a Jew, a Muslim, a man of faith, a man of no faith at all. When we are high and easy, we are blind to how low and hard we have become. Our thoughts are all sleeping. This is where I am now, on my knees and weeping. Abraham Lincoln said, I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that there was nowhere else to go. My own wisdom and that all about me seemed insufficient for the day. This is where we are now. The earth is a candle. The candle is burning. Who is brought low? If this is not the if and when needed, then when will it ever be the time for the recitation of the Kaddish, for Ruth, for America, for Earth? It is time now to plant trees in America, in Israel, and on Earth.
Wow. Peace and love is patriotic, and that was very patriotic. Yeah. Peace and love, and not a bullet or a bayonet, but peace and love and brotherhood, sisterhood is patriotic. Thank you so much for that. Can you now give us three's a charm, Dane?
Yes, I can. It's kind of, everything is everything. We really are all one. There's no inside and outside. It's all about the breaking. It's all about the coming. It's all about the finding. It's all about the doing after. It's all about the journey that comes after everything is blinding, stabbing darkness to everything in you. It is about who you meet on the road, the way you travel in this wilderness of you. Sing to yourself loudly. You will be joined by a chorus of those who know broken. Hear them singing with you. You are always, as everyone always is, alone. One drop in the ocean. But the ocean is made up of all the drops, all the drops, all the drops in you together, all the drops that come crashing, washing beach sand pure as if nothing ever happened. But you were there, and I was there, and we sang horror, sadness, and joy in harmonic discord with. As wasps, weak we were in our love for figs, we climbed inside and died. Now inside Rachel's 6-year-old stomach, now this is where we reside. Our babies flown out of host in holy land as it was, always holy and ever is.
Okay, man.
Dane, that line, wilderness of you, that one line, wilderness of you, that really took me by surprise. It really was a powerful line.
And I myself get caught up unsatisfactorily in something very wise that you said, which is we are all alone and yet we are joined as drops and drops and drops in the sea of what humanity. And one can realize that exists at the same time. And in my case, many times, what I like to feel more and more as part of a greater whole. And then I come back to poetry and find out I'm alone. There's a dilemma. You want to be a poet. Well, thank you very much, Dane. That was very nice. And I'd like to move over now to Mr. David Wilson over there in the top there. Hello, David.
Hey, hi, I'm in San Francisco also.
Oh, well, how about that?
Greetings from the
Have the skies cleared up? Have the skies cleared up in San Francisco due to the wildfires?
They were, but now it's kind of coming back and there's more hot, terrible weather. But it'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully we'll all be at some place in Paris. That'll be great. Can you guys hear me okay? If I lean in?
Yeah.
Good. So I'm going to read from my chapbook here, First Hours of a Rainy Day and Other Poems. Okay. Grinning Skulls. We are gathered together like water-stained stones tumbling down the stream of dawn beneath a white sun as all before it is our mind. But my mind needs to ask, do you see through me? Or am I there? Do I have substance? Or do you even care? Can I stand against the wind of your ideas? Not through malice opposed, but rather through difference. The faces we all pull over our faces. What lies behind your eyes? What questions does your mind need to ask? A green apple in her lap, she lifts and bites and puts it back. Alone with pleasure, but lonely still, I need to get close. As she asked me, why are you so uptight? I could not say, but only agreed and gave in. She stroked me quickly. There was no need of time. We weren't in love. I rolled from sleep inside out of her. Again alone, I still wonder what your eyes conceal, if your face is true. Grinning skulls everywhere, what do we care if symbols tear? Down the long echo-haunted hall, she the brown-haired beauty, and I kiss with our eyes and pass, each alone, smiling.
Wow. Bravo. Can I stand against the wind of your ideas? Woof.
Not through malice.
That's one of several lines that struck me, David. Okay, struck me again, please, with a second poem.
Okay, I'm trying to find that one I wanted to read. Let's see here. Flow poem. Sunlight on a spring's day, birds singing, crows cawing, Alan plays guitar. I sit here, finally relaxed a bit. I don't really care what happens. I am seeking a picture postcard view of what's going on. But lacking that, I will settle for sitting on this patio looking up at the twisted shapes of these trees. I don't really feel like writing about what's going on, about what's important, because the important thing right now is to just forget everything and be in some Zen state where everything is seen as if for the first time. What thing is this I have caught myself in? I began half-heartedly thinking I was writing a poem. Now I am not so sure. This thing seems to be in a state of flux between poem and grocery list, with here an intriguing image, but ever there a meaningless stretch of line. But lo, the meandering babble of a rambling journey down the corridors of my half-forgotten dream. Actually, this week I have taken myself out of service for some much-needed repairs, and thus I shall not fear that the poem that I write be fuel for the woodman's fire. But no task ever seemed so cruel as the writing of an overgrown poem, or the writing of a poem with nightmare ranges of structure, yet here and there an image like a gem, shining forth in the wreckage of that monstrosity. It is hopeless to hope to reap the benefit of every marble that ever fell into any storm drain. Needles and haystacks and every hot-blooded dream can be swallowed by guppies in summer puddles. E. Cummings was as much a poet as anyone, and a Selamar is just one measure of success. There is only time to let it flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and time takes time. All right, and time takes time. That's nice that you were to slander the writing of poetry earlier in the poem, because every poet on this Zoom and listening in knows sometimes how the poem can be either the sweet message of the muse or a tyrannical, clumsy monster that we dare not let loose. in case people who haven't written poetry think it just all comes out like milk and honey. Very nice, David. Can you give us threes a charm?
Okay, here's the third one for a charm. The good Mr. Wilson. There is a poetic sensibility that Mr. Wilson knows. And by Mr. Wilson, I mean me, and not the bad, mean governor of state California. That sensibility, listening to the dead and smoking redway weed. What? I psycho-hallucinogenize the grainy grain of the mold on grain. I drank much fermented grain. As the poem is interrupted by my wife's question, I am not colorblind. I have no short-term memory. The shirt is blue. Beer, we called it when I was a lad in the hot fields of Concord. But I never slept with C, only Martinez, and occasionally Pleasant Hill. I scored in Berkeley and San Francisco, Asilomar, Monty Padme home. I had to tuck in the family for the night and do the dishes and smoke another bong hit and entertain the cat. And that was the end of the poem. I have no short-term memory. What? The lines of haze, at least 1 million hours of Grateful Dead tapes and knowledge of the universe. Hey, cat, get off the kitchen table. Second poems since Saturday night. First poems in plus a year. A poetic sensibility, Mr. Wilson, a poetic sensibility.
Okay, let's hear it from Mr. Wilson. Yes, all right, dude. Okay, well, all right, and from what I hear about the potency of California weed, it must be some kind of experience to put down
a... years ago too, man.
Okay, cool. Because as we know, it's okay to smoke weed or what we do, you know, we make our own choices with our bodies. But there are a lot of people that I have met, and I think others have met, who do more stoning than they practice on guitar, and more stoning than they work out language in a stanza. And that can, not that everybody does that, but a lot of people, what do? I get stoned, so I'm going to be a poet.
Well, you know, it's kind of like John Lennon was once responded to the question if he wrote Lucy the Sky with Diamonds on LSD. So that would be like asking Dylan Thomas if he wrote Under Milkwood on beer, you know? It's just whatever it is we do, just to keep the world from crashing in on it. It's not the work itself.
True. As some do. I mean, Eugene O'Neill was drunk around the clock when he wrote The Iceman Cometh, which, you know, finally found on the floor, passed out of his best friend's cabin living room. And that play would go on to win a Pulitzer. And Kerouac, Jesus, he says he wrote that on gin and speed or something. I don't know. It comes all kinds of different ways. The muse drops by. All right, well, yeah. Well, all right. Good for you that you're alive and lived long enough to talk about it. There we go. Okay. So next, I would like to welcome two people who have come on board, and that would be Claire Andriani from here in Paris. Hello, Claire.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
Claire. Oh, good. Good to hear you, Claire. Good. And you notice E.E. Cummings was mentioned in Proud Poet.
Yeah, I was so happy.
Yeah. Okay, good for you. And then we have from Ghana, we have Benedicta. Hello, Benedicta.
Hi, Musica.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, hi.
Good to hear you. Hey, hey,
Same
hey.
here. Hi, hi,
Okay,
hi.
later. Hi, ho, ho. Oh, good. Let's
I'm
laugh.
sure
It's
I'm
enough to,
hiding from you tonight.
why is that? Why are you hiding?
There's a secret behind that. Unless you
It's
can
a secret.
unravel it. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know where to start. The only thing I know about women when they don't want to be seen is often they say they're having a bad hair day.
You don't say.
Uh-oh. Did I get it?
Sort of.
Okay. Well, you know what? You're going to look lovely and presentable however you are in this moment. So please don't be shy. We'll be glad to take a look at yourself, your face, if you choose. Okay?
Certainly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of that, we've had 4 males go up, bang, 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 bang. Benedicta, could we call on you now to present for us?
Okay, that's fine.
Please do.
Is my sound better?
Yes.
Okay. I'll start with the haiku, which says, can I read? Memes and rhythms, indented phrases, the fibers that clutch in tiptoes. That's the first one.
Yes, it is. And as I like to do when people read a haiku, would you please repeat that poem?
Memes and rhythms, indented phrases, the fibers that clutch in tiptoes.
Okay.
That's about it.
That's about a lot. Yeah, thank you. Could we hear a second one, please, Benedicta?
Okay. The second one, holding on at a glance, a view of landscape, outwardness in narrowed shapes and sizes, choices and precision, the probability counts of chances and luck. Who thrives in bravery without stint? Resistless forces, even to his breath, I lay adrift. That's the second one.
And hey, you speak about what?
No, that's the second one. Was it clear?
Yes, it was. Was it clear, people? Was it clear?
No, you're muted.
Yes.
No, I'm not muted, and you're not muted.
We heard you. We heard you just fine.
I just wanted to mention, Benedicta, that you mentioned something that comics and others mentioned, that a lot of success is due, as you said, to luck and change.
For the second
Luck
one,
and chance.
it seems your line, it's breaking
Yeah,
from my end. I don't know if it was that audible.
it was audible, actually. And we know that that the signal gets we know that your signal gets disrupted, and we are patient about that.
Yes,
we heard you just
today.
fine. We heard the haiku just fine.
But I didn't hear the second one.
No, we heard it. We heard it all. When we kept trying to tell you that we heard it just fine.
Heard it.
Okay, that's good. It rained here, so I was having some hitches.
That's the nature of Wi-Fi and Zoom. Can you give us threes of charm, Benedicta?
All right, the third one, I posted it on the Bzine recently for the 100 TPC, and I read, the stench of horrific pain, uproars in unknown ruthless measures, the missing piece of debilitating outrage, in hurdles of jerks and untoward precepts, an unending inner cry for social justice and change, anticipation, the vital strength of a sustained shrouded past. That will be all.
That will be quite a lot. Thank you. And Benedicta, while you're in here, I want to congratulate you, as I have seen your poetry published in various different poetry sites. So despite the Wi-Fi problem down there in Ghana, you're doing a good job of getting your work out there on B-Zine and 100,000 Poets for Change and Angora. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much.
Thank
you.
Yeah, thank you. And you mentioned you did something in association with this week's 100,000 Poets for Change. And normally I host a full event about behind that. But so many other activities came up this year, and I realized Angora Poets, so many are reading about poems about change, about necessary social and political and other types of change. So just by the fact of what we so often read in our work, we are in solidarity with that event, just as you were. So thank you.
Well, thanks more to as well. And I know that it's because of what is rising up. There's immense pain, hurts. People are suffering from a whole lot of racism, and there's social injustice. So everyone wants to come out loud and be able to bring out their voices as one, so that their voices can be heard in a different aspect for positive change.
Yes.
So I'm sure that whatever that is ongoing, it's for the best, because all lives matter.
Okay. All right, I heard that. Well, all right then. And you'll come back and present for us in the second round. Goodness willing that your signal holds
Certainly,
up.
and you definitely see me too as well in the second round.
Okay, that'll be nice. I like seeing you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very good, Benedicta. Thank you. And now I would like to move over to the doctor, the doctor in Ohio, from South Euclid, Ohio, to be exact. And his name is Doc Janning. And hello, Doc.
Hello, Mo.
Yes.
Yes. Poem the first. Voices of Stones. From cracks between sacred and seen flow ancient melodies in voices of stones, intoning rainbows and arpeggios of song, echoing music of grass and wind, so quiet. Mountains whisper anamnesis, embracing silent sunrise kiss and syzygy of forever.
As someone understanding the language, what were you saying, syzygy, please, to address my ignorance of the word?
Syzygy is a conjunction. It is used in astronomy, astrology, and a few other arcane types of things. It's usually a conjunction of three things.
As in the prefix syn, S-Y-N, to be put together.
In a sense, yes. But this is
synthetic.
Although this is S-Y-Z.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, Doc, thanks for that. And can we hear a second poem from you?
Absolutely. Possibilities of unremembered futures. Sunrises from the dawn of forever across the sharp horizon of viridian seas, in Arios paeans of belling golden glory, into azure baldaquin sky, rousing pristine day, ushering possibilities of unremembered futures into the Eden of perhaps and rich fragrance of fulfillment.
I mean,
Can't hear you.
Rich, I just wanted to commend you on how that poem went out. The last line of that poem.
Rich
You can
fragrance of
repeat it if
fulfillment.
Yeah, that's a nice way to feel fulfilled. Very nice.
To me, when I finish a poem, I get that sense.
Good, good. That's real good. One deserves to have a sense of fulfillment after working on something as challenging as a poem. You've earned it, Doc. You've earned it. And you've earned the right to give us three's a charm, Doc. Would you do that, please?
Okay, this one is not mine. It's by a poem originally by Federico Garcia Lorca, but I didn't care for the translation that is supposedly the standard. It just didn't give us the real meat, the feeling of what he was talking about. It's his poem, Por encontrar un beso tuyo. I'm going to read it in the original Spanish, and please forgive me if my pronunciation isn't dead on. I'm not a native speaker. And then
Okay,
I'm
well,
going
one thing. Okay,
Yes.
good. What I would ask you to do is first read it in English so that
Okay.
we have a view into this poem before you deliver it in Spanish. Would that be all right?
Okay. It's
Please.
in English, it's to find a kiss of yours. What would I give to find a kiss of yours? An errant kiss from lips dead to love. I would taste the shadows of earth. What would I give to gaze into your dark eyes? There's those iridescent jewels open now only to God. I would be blind to the stars of a morning in May. And what would I give to kiss your virgin thighs? Raw, rosy rubies, jewels of the sun.
That's brilliant.
That's
brilliant.
I believe it to be a poem written when he found out that someone he had loved was, and never been with, had joined a convent.
Okay. I just got a note from a listener on Facebook Live, Mo, who says that we have to adjust the volume on our Facebook Live feed because Sarah from Germany is saying that our voices are echoing on the live emission. What do you think, Mo?
I'm not entirely sure. The thing is, I cannot monitor the live at the moment, unless she's talking about the distortions that's coming in from from time to time. But like when was this comment posted?
A few minutes ago.
Well, imagine that. I don't see any. I don't know. Like this is something that perhaps we'll have to take care of later. At the moment, that there's nothing I can do. Yeah.
All right. Well,
it
we'll
may be
sure.
too that she has two computers going in the same room, or two devices of some sort, and that'll give her an echo.
I'll go open my
Yes,
laptop and see if I can pick it up. 1 second. You guys go. Keep on going.
Yeah, and I will get back to her and ask her if we sound more clear. But thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah from Germany, for giving us that notice. We appreciate it. Keep on listening, Sarah. It'll be worth it. So, Mr. Doc, did we get you 3 is a charm?
Well, this is
You were going to read in Spanish.
I was going to read it in Spanish. Por encontrar un beso tuyo. Por encontrar un beso tuyo. Que daría yo un beso errante de tu boca, muerta para el amor. Tierra de sombra como mi boca. Por contemplar tus ojos negros, ¿qué daría yo? Auroras de carbundos insados, abiertas frente a Dios. Las estrellas los cegaron una mañana de mayo. Y por besar tus muslos castos, ¿qué daría yo? Cristal de rosa primitiva, sedimento de sal.
Well, muchas gracias. Está bien, muy bueno.
De nada.
Doc, okay. So this is a place to take risks. If you're not absolutely fluent or in command, that's okay. If we were all polished, we'd be all polished.
I am nonetheless impressed, Doc. I am nonetheless impressed. And and Mo, I just heard the audio from my laptop, and it seems fine. I guess she was talking about at the beginning, which is true. It was echoing at the beginning, but like towards the end, like after the first 2 minutes, the audio was fine.
Well, thank you, Mo, and thank you for alerting us in the beginning, Sarah from Berlin. Appreciate that. And invite you to step up with us in the future, Sarah, because you have been an Angora poet and one that we've deeply appreciated. So, yeah, thank you out there on Facebook Live. We're doing our best to be poets for you and ourselves tonight. So with that, I would like to move over and ask Mohammed Anis to read for us. Mo, are you prepared to read for us?
Oh, little old me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the tech man.
Okay. All right. The tech
People
man
are.
shall
The
recite.
tech man is a poet in the first rank, hailing from Abu Dhabi, from the United.
All right. Okay. Let me pull up the somewhat of a cynical poem that I have written, which is, it was supposed to be a very dramatic poem, but somehow it just took a cynical dive. And this one, I have not given it a name, but it starts like this. I wonder how lonely the mirror felt when you were gone. If somewhere beneath the glass pane, the quiet of the room had a sound. I sometimes wondered if death thought of anything when it took over. Then again, imagination is a gimmick only the living are conceited enough to know. It takes conceit to chastise death for what it has taken away, as if the act of taking was something it understood all along. It takes conceit to warp discomfort into an existential crisis. It takes a gagged breath to cure nihilism. Or perhaps we are the nihilists Nietzsche had figured wrong, living our lives dedicated to proving the cliche truth that death had always known. We are the exception to the rule, a conscious error. It will soon turn into its image.
Whoa, that's daunting. You're right. That did take a leap, into almost foreboding. Yeah, comes up in my mind. Mortality's a bitch. You know, which is why I'm glad I have music, poetry, and friends. Mo, would you read again, please, for us, a second poem?
All right, 3 is a charm. 3 is a charm. Okay.
Already?
I am going to go with something that, second is a charm, I'm sorry. So I'm going to go with something old. Hurricane. This is unrequited love. No crumbs, trails, or hints that can be tracked back to wishful thinking. It was hard enough longing for you while knowing that the doors were open, knowing that living the dream was easier than going to sleep with the thought of you, knowing that there was no chance, no gamble, only destiny dressed for symbiosis. A piano tuned to serenade so well we could toss music theory outside the window. There is nothing louder than the unspoken truth when it is heard. I remember those eyes looking at me like the reflection I always thought myself unworthy of. I hadn't asked your name yet, but I know I was comfortable dying there because it felt like the sweet end of a lifetime I had always wanted. Hurricane, you are all the wishes I would have made had I believed in the audience of the stars. But I worship one greater than the loneliness I made you leave at my bedside. And let me tell you, it has not been an easy prayer.
Ooh, wow. I could not believe in the audience of the stars. Well, okay. If you hear grunting in the background, my dog is acting up. She is making a lot of noises right next to me here because she follows Angora Poets. She's got those. She lives here. Hey, you want to eat? You want to eat? Oh, you better listen to this poetry. All right. So there we go. Mo, we're not going to let you get away without 3's a charm, please.
3 is a charm. 3 is a charm. All right. Okay. Well, this, There's a coffee shop, there's a coffee shop in Savannah, Georgia. The entrance laid out with trails of footprint stickers instead of carpets. Crooked lumps wiggle your heels like a ghostly handshake, as if letting you know that you're weird enough to pass. Black coffee kegs proclaim the nationalities that America is white enough to forget. There's a kindness that lingers here, aromas wafting in the air like a wake-up call for the neglected. The walls glued with pallets of tattered paper rallies, exhausted but solemn in their resolve. A boy sits in a corner, tailored fit for his self-esteem, his heart throbbing like a spilling wishing well, eyes shifting between his notes and the quiet question, what the hell was he even doing here? The bell rings to announce more regulars, flustered college kids reaching for ivory mugs for a sobering they'll never get, but the kegs pour anyway. And that's it.
But that's a definitive observation, but they're kegs pour anyway. And I wanted to mention, you used a striking line about America is so white it forgets itself. What was that again, please?
All right. One moment. Let's see. Oh. Black coffee kegs proclaim the nationalities that America is white enough to forget.
Okay. Okay. Wouldn't argue with that. I have come to stating something for the last couple of years. There is the historical American white people, and we know, I think we know what we're talking about in terms of historical relations to other people. And then there's just a large number of Americans and Europeans who are white, who are Caucasian, and they're just normal, everyday people, many of them very good people. And I like to mention that because now when I answer someone in a thread, when I say something, this is for white people, I put quotation marks, inverted commas around that word, because I am in no way wishing to condemn the numbers and numbers and numbers of Caucasian white people who are part of the human family, as well as we must admit in the United States, the numbers of white people who think that they are the first family. And I think that dichotomy needs to be recognized so that blanket statements aren't thrown out when there is no reality for blanket.
Sorry, isn't it unfortunate that
You're echoing.
I don't know if it's from my side or for someone else, but
No, he's not, Doc.
If you,
No, he's not.
he was.
yeah, I heard
Well,
it from his
hold on,
speakers.
Doc. Let him.
Anyway, let me just I'm just gonna say this. It's a little unfortunate that we live in a time where we cannot trust the audience to be a bit more critical, that we have to justify that. You know what I mean? Like usually when I think at least when I wrote that, I felt that a white person would be critical enough to know to distinguish between himself and you know the other Caucasians from the top 1% who did all this damage. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Well, you're totally right, and I mentioned that I put white in quotation marks simply because to eliminate knee-jerk reactions. Like, are you calling me one of those people? And I just say, well, if the shoe fits, brother, and if it doesn't, you have every right to feel that you're another human being with your own complexion. And yeah, it's almost a drag to have to qualify, but anymore with people racing to polls, you know, polarity. I do that when I don't know somebody, you know, and they've asked me a question or put a statement like that. Okay, well, thank you, Mo. Thank you very, very much. And keep on teching, man. And speaking of our live, I want to thank Dion Bennett from Wales for telling us we're doing a nice job. And I want to thank Alexis Beatty from Glasgow, who told us earlier that we were doing a nice job. And we're happy that you're listening. And so with that, I would like to call on Miss Vicky Aqua. Hello, Miss Vicky, are you there? Hello, Vicky. Your picture certainly looks nice, so we'll put a hold on that. I hope you're hearing us, Vicky, and that you will come on board when you get your connection together. So what we'll do alternatively is call on Miss Claire Andriani from Paris, who lives in Paris and is French, and it's quite a scholar in my meetings with her, talking about issues other than poetry. And she also reads, writes, and recites very well in her second language, which is English. And she's a great fan of E.E. Cummings. So with that, hello, Claire, and you're on.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be here. I have a poem called The Child. The waiter says, "See you tomorrow," and goes back to his glasses attentively. He thinks about what he will have for dinner, while 3 women pass talking about their previous lunch. A child, carried by his father on a bicycle, looks at the ever-moving scene of the cafe before him, at the red traffic lights. His eyes are like 2 black marbles shining from inside and reflecting the outer world of the human light. He is the mirror, this child, like every child. He is the mirror, the future, showing us our flaws by a simple look, his eyelids hesitant, dazing us with his inner light. His skin, humble, white as a drape, questions every thought, every object his eyes land on. This child is the mirror of a century, the mirror of humankind.
Wow, yes, 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 yes. Applause, Mita. Claire, is it in fact, is a child's reaction to us a true reflection of who we are?
Yeah, I think so. I was observing this
That they are
child,
mirrors?
and he had such a straight look on things. It's like he was seeing beyond, what we actually see. It was beautiful.
Or see into what I might be trying to disguise. The real look in my eyes or the real tone in my voice where I'm going, here, nice kid. Go away, little boy, you bother me. That kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is because with my own children, I remember looking into seeing looks in their eyes, and it revealed to me quite abruptly if I was sincere and a positive emotion to them, or if I was inappropriate to them. And that was it, without conversations, without psychological analysis. What you're saying, children are mirrors, is what I'm affirming, like you said. So may we hear a second poem?
Yeah, with pleasure. This one is called The Shadows. It's the shadows of, so here it is, the tables. The sun falls on the empty tables and talks a forgotten language for the one who can't see. Long and peaceful shadows show on the dry and gray pavement that seems to smile. There are intricacies, shapes that reveal or hide each other on the ground. It's like a coded conversation. Objects seem to talk silently. They are more talkative than human beings, more vibrating with the past, the present, sometimes a dialogue, sometimes a multi-dialogue, makes itself heard through the undefinable rumble of humans talking, and they shine through this man's smoke that vanishes against the sun, silently. Second poem.
Yes, yes, yes. And this is in your second language.
Yeah.
Goodness, woman. You are goodness, woman. In your second language like that. I envy what you do. And I will envy 3 is a charm coming from you, Claire.
Yeah,
please.
3 is a charm is a poem I wrote in the cab, and it really reflected our times now, how we have to be careful with each other, the masks and so on. And it's called Night Cab. He's driving like a black ghost, coughing every now and then. There is hydroalcoholic lotion in the middle, showing proudly, as if to reassure me, and yet, with the suspicious air, it seems to say, that might not be enough, I'm sorry. The car goes on and on. We both sit in silence, separated by a plastic lid between the driver and the passenger's seat. I am the passenger, always have been. We see people die, but it seems out of reality, as if it came out from a dream, as if it had been on another planet. We see the numbers, we see the extravagant newspapers, even though we try to avoid them. They rest on the shelves like ill-intentioned devils grinning. The cab driver doesn't say a word. I wonder if any of this is real. The man rushes and drives uncertainly, as if he wanted to go home, wondering if home even exists. We arrive at my hostel safe. Relieved, I think it is good to be alive. White as a newborn baby, I lose myself in the sky, while the cicadas, always hopeful, sing.
Nice way to go out, Claire.
Thank you.
All right, your alternative to the pandemic and the suffering going on. And those of us living in urban areas in the 20th century, we don't know death because it's removed. We don't even say he died. We say he passed away or she passed away. No, he died. Yes, he's dead. This is the way of the world. But it's, I'm sensitive to the fact that we're not allowed, but most people, he passed away. Well, where to? You mean he died? And maybe you see him going, into the other world, the afterworld. But I wanted to comment on that. And okay, so can we hear Freeze a Charm from you? Unmute. You need to unmute.
I have already read 3, Mo. It was my 3rd one.
Oh, okay. Well, my apologies. I got
Don't
so
worry.
caught up. My apologies. That would be me. For those out there listening live, I suffer from limited storage capacity, and it shows that we on a weekly
That's
basis.
not true.
That would be me.
Mo, I am going to have to go. And therefore, also the live is going to have to go with me. But the recording will continue. So
Okay,
you want to say anything to the live before we...
I do. Actually, I do. If you'll give me a second to do that. We have and I want to say hi to Celeste Garvey Petch from Austin, Texas. I want to say hello to Joanne McLaughlin. I believe she's from the Northeast. I want to say hello to Juan Christian Guerrero from the West Coast of the United States. I want to say hello to Elena Canela Del Mar, who's living in Paris. And I want to say hello to Strider Marcus Jones, who lives in England. So hello and thank you. And well, we have to go off live now. And we hope that those of you who have listened have benefited, enjoyed, and felt impacted by our poetry. And know that by tomorrow or the next day, this entire session will be put up on YouTube, having been recorded in its entirety. So, okay, Mo, we'll let you sign off right now for us live. And thank you for your assistance in setting this up, Mo. And we will continue to do live in the coming weeks. And so that's what we'll do. So everyone, good night. Have a good night, Mo. And thank you. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mo.
Thank you, Mo.
I'll see you guys later.
Big hand. Big hand. Bye for now,
Bye,
Mo.
Mo.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
More nightmares for you.
Oh, dear God. Did she just say more nightmares for me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's very nice.
Benedicta, where's your head at? So, she's just throwing some shit in the game. That's all. As we say, put some shit in the game. Okay, Mo, I think he's signed off now. And we'll carry on now. And what I'd like to, another thing I'd like to mention is 5 of us from Angora Poets were published this week in the Jerry Jazz Musician website. And that was Chris Sims and Prince McNally and Carrie. And is it you also, Benedicta? Okay.
Me?
Anyway, I count.
I got
Oh,
Caffe.
good, Claire. And Claire. And Claire.
Poets what?
So,
I didn't get the statement.
And Jack as well.
And
Published
Jack
in
as
what?
well. Well, what I'm saying is Benedicta, darling, I'm congratulating 6 Angora poets
Mm-hmm.
who were published this week in the Jerry Jazz Musician End of Summer Reflection, where the themes were divided between experience living under COVID and experience reflected on Black Lives Matter. So a big
That's
shout
nice.
out to you, Joe Mata. A big shout out to Joe Mata in Portland, Oregon, who puts out, if you haven't checked out Jerry Jazz Musician, this is as well done as printed jazz magazines. Poets, photographs, interviews, historical references. This man does a hell of a good job. And the voices in his magazine are not uniform. In other words, you can be in the jazz musician site and express yourself in various ways. Joe selects people of various voices. So thank you again, Joe, and a big shout out to 6 Angora poets. I'm pleased to have been one of them. In fact, the shortest poem I've written in a long time was the last poem in the collection this time. And I felt, believe it or not, to be my second poem in that collection, to be published last, kind of was touching. I liked it. And it's called, it's a poem about Paris during the lockdown. That was published earlier on a piece by Roxanne Hoffman, Poets Wear Prada. And it was her, I think, an auxiliary thing she does. So anyway, I was glad to see it again, and want to thank you, Angora Poets, for getting yourself published. Okay, so I've just admitted
Congrats
Vicky.
to all of them.
Yes, and you too, Benedicta, because I have seen your stuff published in the B-Zine, not just for poetry, arts, and humanity series. So a big congrats to you too, Benedicta, and for being published on 100,000 Poets for Change. So
Thank
kudos.
you.
Angora Poets, we are out there. We are out there. And now I see Vicky back on board. Vicky, are you ready to? Yeah. Hi, Vicky.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Okay, I had to change equipment. The $15 earphone and speaker that I got from the dollar store wasn't working. So I had to come to my phone. So I'm on my phone now.
Okay.
And you can
we
hear
can
me,
hear
right?
you very well.
Okay,
Yes, we
that's
can.
good.
And
Okay,
so if
so
you'd like to begin with your first poem.
I'm going to do a piece that Facebook just sent me. It's from 2014. I think that's when I wrote it. They sent it as a memory. So I said, well, maybe it's intended on me to read it. Hello, everyone. Sorry I missed Mo. I couldn't get in time. But now I'm going to read this.
Hi.
Hi. I'm going to read this piece called The Eyes of My Reflection. Reflections tell stories, yours and mine. The eyes of my reflection sees a reflection peering out of the glass or bouncing off ripples in clear water. My eyes see the eyes of my reflection and decides how to transmit the image. The eyes of our reflections withhold secrets, play cruel tricks on my sanity. The secrets now revealed. Before, my reflections would protect me, at least until I healed. There again was shock, the me that used to be. The eyes of my reflection pitied me, self-rejection, I was happy to see the same old self looking back at me. Images long transmitted, reaching me with the speed of perception. There was my faithful reflection, revealing only images of a former face in the untruthful looking glass. Never was shown to me the reality. The eyes of my reflection transmitted the same image to my psyche, the picture it had taken 20 years before. The years leapt and the winter solstices slept. Years of the changing time slowly crept. My faithful reflection never revealed the reality, as if my eyes knew that for me there would be no solace. In my naked and wrinkled reflection, the eyes that could never give me straight answers as to why. For me, there was no solace. The light had been moving slowly. Prayers held old age at bay, like Dorian Gray, moving and projecting slowly down, playing my aging face. The debt now due. The leap years leapt, and the moon slept and awakened in Leo too many times. The slow motion blocked the sun. It was time for the truth, and the truth wrestled with illusions, and for me, time stood still. Shocking were the conclusions. The winters were colder and the summers were hotter. Why were the eyes of my reflection full of deception, like deception holding the truth in escrow until I could come to grips? My brain afraid to face me and report the truth as it be. Maybe I could have held on to my dignity and grew old gracefully. The eyes of my reflection hid images and knew that time had long abandoned my side. Foe nor friend never mentioned how I had become swollen with pride. The eyes of my reflection played tricks until a mirror caught my reflection off guard, and the conundrum hit hard. I had to walk backwards to get another glance. And the lady in the glass, who had on my favorite coat, was Baby Jane, the syndrome. Now I fear it is too late to die young. In peace.
Yeah. Yes, it's too late to die young. It's all right, Vicky. And I understand what you're saying about the reflections. Sometimes, especially in the morning, I'll go into my kitchen, which has a mirror, and look at myself and go, ooh, what a disappointment. Coffee, do your thing. Please.
Yeah, you started speaking about Dorian
Vicky,
Gray. Yes,
yeah, that's the worst way to go. All right, Vicky, can we have a second poem? Poem from you?
This is not my poem, but I fell in love with it day before yesterday. So this is my second time reading it. It's called it's written by Barasi Kipkuri, and I've been reading his works. I thought I'd share this with you. It's called When I Die. When the sun has set for me and the stars should have blinked no more, when the time for me to go and see my friends on the other shore, when the breath that I have loved for 17 years has ceased, please know it's already my evening sun, a fallen son of Mama Kiprona. Do cry your tears, for it will be the first and the last time seeing me happy. For all these years, I've been a lachrymose son of my mother. Let the hills of Senor know that the son of Caesarea has gone to the ocean of haunting scepters. Be humbled by your tears and accord me my due respect. When I die, let Miriam come home. Give her my share of the land. For her farm of Simsim is where we grew our love. And she is my all-time sinecure. But I promised her that in case she leaves my body to the maggots in my shanty that night, then I will cause a stampede. I will refuse to get out of my hut for obsequies. When I die, I want my 7 sons from different mothers to assemble near my grave. Let them spit on my face as only my daughter sits far away. For I will not allow a girl like her to be near my putrefied body. When I die, tell my unborn son that he'll inherit my name. Tell him I died before I saw his face. For I am sure a man like me always sires boys with you. And if in case she's a girl, woe unto you. Leave my house, for my birthday will be announced once again. When I die, I will want my books beside me. Let my publisher come from where they sit down, pocketing my hard-found publication fee. Let them donate money to the pallbearers for them to take me to my grave. And finally, when I die, stop calling my home Arak Barasi. Call it the name of the owl, because I am sure I'll die a horrible death. Yes, I'll die in vain. Again by Barasi Kip Kirui, read by Mama Oladeji.
Right, wow. Okay, and you know, some years ago I was reading some Tibetan Buddhist, some stuff they wrote, and they were saying that we make this mistake. Now they're saying, we make this mistake talking about living the good life. What we advise you to do is prepare to have a good death. And by that, they did not mean die, kill yourself. They meant the realization that death is coming, a spiritual realization that death is coming will enlarge your feeling of lifeness as you are here. I remember that. Prepare
Memento mori.
for. Go ahead, Claire.
Memento mori.
Okay, I know a mori.
Memento mori.
Remember that you will die.
You said remember that you will die.
Yeah.
In my case,
yeah, Freud says much the same thing. He says that if you want to live well, you should bear in mind that you will die.
Right. Because before we get to your third poem, Vicki, it's worth mentioning that right now the trend in America for some decades now is people are trying to defy aging. So some of it's good, you know, the big vitamin craze and getting off junk food and exercise. But so much of it has been about, like, they spend so much time conditioning their bodies and buying clothes from Forever 21 and pumping up various parts of their bodies that weren't there before they got pumped up, or erasing parts of their bodies that they no longer wish. All that kind of thing. They're so afraid of dying that they're not happily living.
True.
Yeah.
Right.
So Vicky, true would be having you read Three's a Charm.
Okay. The name of this piece is called Sensual Props, and I usually play Alice Coltrane with it, but I didn't have time to pull her up, so I'm just going to read it. It's called Sensual Props. Who would ever think that a few candles, an Alice Coltrane or Pharoah Sanders could take us to the brink? Who knew that what we already do could ever be enhanced with honey and ice? Feeling the ice melt as I heat your cool mouth, I vibrate to the melody that surrounds the room. Who knew that ecstasy would come with such invigorating force and then leave so soon? Be wild in your arms. We've left with nothing else to do but begin again. This honey demands to be consumed. So we resume. We race to the finish line. This time we arrive at the same time. Only Alice knew that we'd meet her there in that place where only lovers go. We lie there with our eyes wide open, wondering, how could this thing that we already do have gotten any better with ice, Alice, and honey? We finally fade into the surround sound. The Creator has a master plan. Peace and happiness for every man. Fading into the background, thankful for sensual props. Heavy breathing subsiding and soon stops. Basking in the moment of our sun. We become as one, his arms inviting. Now waiting, we both surrender unto Morpheus. In peace.
In peace, it's taken. Yes, thank you, Vicky. Memento mori. Okay. Thank you very much, Vicky, and we look forward to hearing you in the second round. And now, as it looks, yes, thank you. Now we're down to two of us left. I like to go last, usually. So I will call on Jack Cooper. Hello, Jack. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay, we hear you now.
Okay. This is called The Branch. If a leaf hold to the branch in the starkest wind, it will but fall eventually. Expire in color and time. Still, time its own. Seasonal arc to evoke its splendor. However, savages may sever the bow. Inured to tempest, man in storm has learned to ignore the fruit, violate the seed, obscure the forest, prefer the tree. A tree cannot make a forest, but the forest will. One tree cannot make a forest disappear, but the forest will.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That was very, very good, Jack. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You gotta see the forest through the trees.
That's for sure.
And that's a nicer way to put it, as you've just done. So can we hear a second poem from you, Jack?
Yes. This is called Made Love. But there is no other way, only mutual desire, mend the separation, remediate not the isolation in ourselves, but the feeling apart, the path between souls, not the one that joins them.
Wow, that got by sooner than I expected. All right. Can you read that again, Jack?
Yeah.
Please.
Yes, certainly. It's called Made Love. But there is no other way, only mutual desire to mend the separation, remediate not the isolation in ourselves, but the feeling apart, the path between souls, not the one that joins them.
That's nice.
Okay.
Bravo.
And that's a take on reality. Very nice, Jack. Very nice.
Oh, thank you.
Jack.
I like the part
Take it, Vicky.
between souls.
Yes, I like the path. I like it too.
Oh, good. So what's good is, Jack, will you give us threes a charm, please?
Yes. This is called The Healing. The Healing. It has an epigraph from Vladimir Nabokov's memoir called Speak Memory. And the epigraph is, the cradle rocks above an abyss. And in it, I use the word tibionik, which is the Russian word for child. We are the love of life, that deep one, never felt, only feel. Gift by virgin birth, perfect union, ideal fusion of form and content. Then what happened turns to dust. Everything around, inside it, changes. We peer, helpless, striving to restore origin, the obscured to penetrate. Pendulous, ever brief lives, tibionik through memory speaks, echoes an abyss, cradle defined, tangent, precarious, rocked by wavelength of light. Fortunate they, all who touch the bright shape. Gravity lends final weight to the unfathomable.
Okay, all right. Yeah, hands up on that poem as well. And
thank you.
Sure enough, gravity is another one of the final deciders of our span here on Earth. Eventually, we do fall to gravity. And along the way, if you take a look at my wrinkles, gravity takes a hold before I finally go out. Hopefully, I age with a smile on my face to supplant any notions I had of being handsome. All right. So I'm going to be the last poet in this session, and I will start off with a very, very short story. And it's about 2 stanzas, about 2 stanzas long. And time, and I think it fits. I just put it out because I think it fits as we're talking about longevity and you know, our time and place here on earth and when it's time to go. Okay, so here it goes. Not long ago, Eric's boy was born. His name is Daniel. In 20 years, Eric says, I'm going to tell him the things that are happening now. I'll talk to him about the friends who are dead and in prison, and who for the comfort of self-censorship, the seeming comfort of indifference, the silence of willful ignorance and denial. I will tell him about how hard life was in all the countries spread about the world. And I want him to look in my eyes and not believe me and tell me I am lying. The only proof will be that he, my son Daniel, was here. But he won't remember anything about this time. Back then, as he will look, he was a newborn. I want him not to be able to believe that this was so possible. I can hear him say, Father, these acts are not in the books. These accounts are not documented in films and speeches they told me to look and listen to. Your generation does not speak of this kind, but only of natural catastrophes, of the God's inexplicable will, as some say. I want him to say that this time never existed. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
That's
All right,
awesome.
and now I'm going to, well, thank you. Thank you very much, Benedicta.
This time never
And,
existed.
No. And of course, I only wish, because those who have children right now must be thinking similar thoughts of my own. I know that people are saying my children aren't able to go to school, they are not able to play, and they're being slighted of their youth. And somewhat, I feel more sorry for them than I do for adults, simply because youth is so precious to be denied, along with our own experience, but that's how I feel. Okay, now I'm going to give you 2 poems that are jazz poems, and that's what they are. And the first one is called Rebel. I'm a rebel rock and rolling to the count of rock of ages on the beat of Congo drummers to a tune of Irish sorrows, wailing with the Jews for the blues in Mississippi, and step with all the dancers on a riff of jazz in G. That's it. That's it. Okay.
You have such
And
an
here's
awesome
one.
flavor for jazz.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I think it works. And I get a kick out of writing shorter and shorter poems. The one published in Jerry Jazz Musician that also appeared in that Roxanne Hoffman, it's not her press, it was a blog or something. It's something like 5 lines long. I wish to hone it down like the sculptor to the stone, keep chipping until the essence appears. And while I don't do haikus, I treasure it more and more the more brief poetry that I write. That's just me. Okay, now here's one. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stanzas that I like to perform in jazz ensemble, and which I will be doing Thursday evening. More about that in a minute. And it's called Slipping Out of L7. Now check me out. Here's an L and here's a 7. Well, as best I can. What does that make? Anybody get it? It makes a square, man. It makes a square. So it's an old, right. I heard this on a street corner one night, and somebody said, man, I'm slipping out of L7. And I got it, meaning, boredom or a drag or things like that. Okay, slipping out of L7. At 3 years old, I chose to rise, turned a handle on the door and a corner on a block. I walked to the world and looked at life. I have been preoccupied, trains, boats, cars, planes, designs, dreams, plans, maps stamped on soles of my 2 shoes, how to, where, go, it's at, about doing it, there. For 30 and 3, I have stepped 2 rhythmic ticks of time, though not a tune I label mine. See, tune be borrowed, be broke, be blue. Today I put a hold on big round face of majestic clock up above and gaze upon it and ponder in its face. Hey, Pops, my time, my tune, where I go and what I do. Finally to admit, I don't even know the yin and the yang of it. Big round clock chimes, take 5 and then some. The main spring, the main thing, you dig so simple like a clean baseline. I smell quiet. I'm a man sprung on parole. I'm not doing time, just taking time. I'm not doing time, but taking time. I'm not doing no time, just taking my time. I'm a do wah wah.
Lovely.
Snapping.
High five.
Sorry, Claire?
High five.
I just sang Choo-be-doo-doo bow-wow.
Shoo-be-doo-doo, be you. Scott's nice with do, be, you, certain verbs and adverbs. One thing good about Scap is you can drop them verbs and them adverbs. And while it looks like you're just running through a whole lot of phonemes, you can be dropping some meaningful stuff. Jazz cats at Scat know this. We're talking actually expressing in language. We could break it down to actual language expression without going very abstract at all. So that's a shout out to Jazz Scat, which I so much like. Now, I said I'd be doing this on Thursday. Some of you know, and some of you can know, that Angora Poets has reactivated in the flesh and phoneme, meaning we are appearing in the flesh this Thursday evening in a Paris bar that I perform. I've been performing in actually as a guest singer, and the owners gave me a date, invited me to have my own date, and I said, "Can we have Angora Poets here?" And he said, "Okay." And I said, "Real good, okay," because I wanted to get us in a. Well, the reason why is simply this: the bar can host musicians on a stage, with amplification and plenty of seats and an affordable bar side, and there's a terrace, with tables. So, and it's called a Bar Babel, Bar Caffe Babel. So those of you who can't be here yet, who are not in Paris yet, know that Angora Poets is back under a roof And when you do get to Paris, and I hope you do get here, you are most warmly invited to step up and poem with us. And so for that evening, what we're going to do is I'm bringing back my jazz trio, and we are going to accompany poets in jazz accompaniment. That is to say, we're going to listen to their poem and accompany what they are doing in jazz instrumentation. For all
Are we
those
going to be able
poets
to
who wish
see
to
it?
step
Are we going to
I'm
be?
working with Vicky. I'm working with my guitarist Patrick Sidok right now, whose girlfriend has the technology. And so what he's going to do is ask her if she will show up and use that recording device with us, because this stuff's going to jump. These
Okay.
musicians are very, very good, and and what we do is we listen to poets. You know, we listen to them. We don't play something and tell them, "Come on, jump in." We listen to them, and what I mean by that is when a poet comes up to stage, we say, "What's your theme?" They may say, "Love." What's your feeling? Blues. Okay, what's your tempo? Medium. Okay. Patrick, give me something by Miles Davis.
Okay.
And see, that's what we'll do. We'll start off that to accommodate the theme, the mood, and the tempo. So, and I've asked, and I want to thank the Angoras and some other people who have participated for posting our work on their pages. I appreciate it. So those of you who have done that, I really I do appreciate it, because you are our ambassadors. You are our outreach. Okay, we don't have a
Okay,
budget.
so we'll be able to watch it virtually, like alive.
I don't think we're gonna, Vicky. I don't think we're gonna do it live yet. What I'd like to do is just have good quality broadcast audio video taken from the various poet performers.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll
But
put
then
it
it
up
will be a
on
Zoom
the.
event.
No, it will not be a Zoom event. No, Zoom will happen every Sunday. Angora Zoom will continue each Sunday. But as it stands now, you know, the Angora poetry reading traditionally under a roof will be happening each Thursday. So Angoras will be on the map 2 nights a week, Zoom on every Sunday. So one can participate Thursday, if you'll let me finish. One can participate every Thursday evening if you're in Paris, and also participate Sunday evening if you're in Zoom. So go ahead, Vicky.
Okay,
got it. I got
it.
I got it now. I was getting confused the same way. Yeah.
And that means
so
I
now,
have to come there on a Thursday and be able to participate in it.
Yeah, well, we would love to have you, because with the caliber of the poets that participate with us, it would be to our pride and pleasure in Paris to have you step up and join us, you know,
that sounds
in
good.
the, how do I say
I'm
it?
sure
In the
doing that on my
body.
birthday.
Well, as I say, yeah, we would be most happy if any one of you shows up in Paris, so that you
Wow.
can be presented. You can be presented both on our live stage and on our Zoom, as you are now.
That
We
is so
are
cool.
about, Angora is getting traction. And as I mentioned, I encourage people to put our invites and other things on their page, so that people who know you and know that you're good poets know that that's an endorsement of yourself and Angora Poets. And it's simply that. And those of you who won't, well, if you want to just take a free ride, okay, take a free ride. Okay, there are free riders in the world. Okay, so that was the end of the first round. And what I'd like to do now is just open this up for chat before we come back on for the second round. So who wants to chat? I've said enough for a while. What's on your minds, people?
I think I just had enough of what's on my mind. Too much politics. I'm just here for some poetry right now. Too much politics.
I can say there's a statue that is gonna be erected in Paris, and its name will be Solitude. It's in the honor of a Black woman who fought racism in the 19th century in Guadeloupe, and a statue will be erected to her name, and she was named Solitude. I don't remember exactly where. It's in the northwest of Paris, and there's already a square with its name, with her name, and now a statue will be erected.
Well, that's very
In
nice
honor
of
of
Paris.
her.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say on a positive note, maybe that statue will promote less racism in Paris.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly not the most racist city I've been in, but anyway, statues are good, and to know why they were put up and how the figure in that statue or the theme in that statue might apply to ourselves. That's a great idea. Yeah. So
Well, I always
Paris
thought
is,
that France was not racist because that's where Nina Simone went.
well, Claire and Bill and Jack, you're from Paris. What are your feelings?
I think that a good thing about the French is, though they may retain racism, they're not proud of it. It's not something you brag about in public.
Oh, because I did a poem about Nina Simone, and they said she went to France and was treated well.
Mm-hmm.
I almost met her. I was going out with the girl that she visited her set at a bar, and she was not afraid of anything.
No.
Well, I should pull out my Nina Simone poem and read it, or either play it. I got it on SoundCloud. If y'all want to hear it, go to SoundCloud. It's called "Ode to Nina Simone" by Mama Ola Daisy. Yeah, I thought she was treated well there, so that's why I always wanted to go. To my daughter did a lecture in Paris right before she died on the mushrooms, and she came back. Said it was like a real great experience. So I never knew that. The first time I ever heard that Paris or France or the people over there were acting like ignorant ass Americans.
No, they're not. They're not. There is racism here, but it's not out in the open, and it's not. There are no lynchings, and there have been no lynchings and all of that. There have been things, but
I got you.
You know,
it's not blatant.
Right, and only one. I did a job, and I stuffing mailboxes when I was first here, and I was with a French couple, and he asked me if I was a racist, and I said no, and then he said, well, we are, and that's the only time a French person has seemed proud of their racism.
Okay.
Well, maybe I can tie in the question of race and Nina Simone, which is to say this. French people have for 150 years venerated the Black American. Now get me right on this. The Black American. Okay? They have venerated them as writers, suffragettes, as music makers, and as people that they understand had suffered under slavery and Jim Crow. So therefore, long ago, there was a Black suffragette who spoke at La Sorbonne in 1888. She was a member of the first American suffragette study group, and she was invited to speak in France. Louis Armstrong was hailed as a giant jazz man before he was hailed that way in the States. Ray Charles came over here in 1963. Now, Ray Charles was considered like rather boogie-woogie decadent by standard American establishment society and people from the church, okay, and from the church, singing that devil's music. Now, in Paris in 1963, in a concert outdoors in the rain, 50,000 people came to hear Ray Charles in the rain. Now, what does this say? Now, when I ran with Nina for 5 days and 5 long nights in 1996 here in Paris, where she kept an apartment, she was very happy to be here. And she, like those of us who live here, understood the difference. One, she was famous and they loved her, which but two, she understood the difference between the way French people look at Black Americans and take a look. Have you heard of Haiti, the country of Haiti, and how the French colonized and enslaved those people? And Guadeloupe and Martinique and islands of Asian people in the South Pacific. So before we give the French a glorious pass, they've got a history, and the Congo and about 8 Francophone states in Africa, which they are still bleeding, taking money from natural resources. So, there are worse places to live in the world, but to be honest, France, in large part, has not escaped what other racist countries have inflicted upon people who are not white. But Bill's right. You don't openly declare it. What you do in France, like you did when so many people collaborated with the Nazis in World War II. So many French openly.
Yeah, and Senegal too. They did go over there and mess with Senegal.
Yes, indeed. So what the French have a habit of doing, and a very good habit, is denying what they do. And so they won't come out and say something racist or xenophobe in the establishment media or on broadcast. And they will deny it while they're actually doing it. And the greatest example was up to 45% of all French people during World War II sympathized with the Nazis, and that included in Paris. And these are well documented by both the German Gestapo and French writers. But what the French do is, like so many countries do, is emphasize what the good side did without taking account of what the negative side did. And they've been very good at that. Okay, very good. It was only recently that they were willing to admit publicly what scholars and people who lived through the war knew in their own lives, that 45% of the population was agreed to the Nazi plan when it occupied France in World War II. So it's a strange thing. What they do well, like so many rich countries, what they do well, they do very well. And like other countries in that situation, what they do unwell, they do very unwell. Frankly put, if you look at any individual or any country that's rich, and you look at how they got rich, that might answer your question about how morally or ethically or racially their attitudes are.
Behind every great is a great crime, huh? Behind every great fortune is a crime.
I wanted to say that meaning cultural diversity is also a factor when it comes to these racial disparities and all that. Meaning that those who have been indigenous want to always come out with them saying that they are the racist, but those who have relocated to that place, they don't show forth all these kinds of things. That's what I wanted to factor in.
Okay. So it's the answer and the reality is full of a lot of good and a lot of bad, which is the case with most collections, civilized collections of human beings. I'm not reducing white racism, but I tell you, people, as a foreign correspondent, I've seen so much racism between the dominant group in Afghanistan and the minority group in Afghanistan, where they would just grab boys from the minority group and literally rape them in the marketplace because those people were considered inferior. And in North Africa, in Libya now, that all these claims of another religious group. We are Islam, the religion of love and tolerance. They're enslaving Black Africans who are immigrating across their borders. The Chinese don't like the Northern Chinese. The Japanese, for the longest time, didn't want any Orientals on their island except Japanese. So, I'm not trying to flatline the original conversation about France, but myself, as a foreign correspondent, I couldn't believe all the bigotry and prejudice that exists around the planet, and from people who are declaring themselves oppressed and desiring liberation, which they deserve. But that seems to be the contradiction in the human condition.
So let me pose a question based on what you just said. What is the difference between nationalism and love for one's own country versus just hatred for a specific group? Because for me, living in Japan, it was more focused on nationalism, that you were either Japanese or you were Gaian. So, it wasn't essentially that they didn't like you, it's just you weren't one of them. Where there's other, they just don't like you because, like when I went to Slovakia, it's towards the gypsies, right? So it's a certain group that they target, So where's the contrast between what you see around the globe?
Right. That's, as far as I can see it, I like to look at nationalism as humane patriotism. I love my country, my nation, my people in a collective goodwill. And then there's nationalism that gets distorted as the Germans decided they were a superior race, and Mussolini followed, trying to reinvent Rome, and Tojo in Japan. And that kind of, nationalism, strictly defined, it seems to get a negative connotation. But if we take out the common interpretation, one can be a patriot and want the collective goodwill for everybody and feel very nationalistic in that way, versus episodes in history, or which is now going on in some places, where we are nationalists by virtue of the fact that we don't like the other. We don't like those who are perceived as different. It can go both ways in my observations.
Well, I think that's a very interesting distinction that you're talking about, because it's ethnocentric, but how does it play out? Are you not going to get a job because you're not Japanese? I mean, I don't know what that's like. So they're not particularly singling out any particular race, except anybody or anything that's not them. I don't know if that's really much different than, singling, people out, for skin color or something like that. It's kind of the same thing. I
feel like it's just a taught behavior that you have to put somebody else down in order for you to look big. If you can't look big just being a good person, doing some great things, or whatever your race is getting accomplished for. It has to be somebody that's under you. It has to be a big me and a little I. A big I and a little you. It just has to be, or you just can't see your worth. People can't see their worth unless they have somebody to look down to. That's what they say about the Appalachian people. They told them to be the overseers to enslaved people, and as long as that they have somebody to be over, that didn't make any difference how poor they were, or how sick they were, how uneducated they were, that they were still better than. You always have, this is how they keep racism perpetuated, to have somebody
Exactly.
thinking that they're better than someone else.
Yes. And if you can point to this, Benedicta.
It also means that they would also want to segregate and give the higher positions when it comes to maybe job opportunities to their main nationals. If they are coming from a different
opens gates for a living. All he does, he's the gate man. And it's a class system. So when you don't have racism, you have classism.
There you go.
I mean,
Right.
That's
Which
very
is why,
true.
which is why Karl Marx. Here's something ironic, people. Do you know that Karl Marx in Das Kapital and other literature that he wrote? Do you know during the height of the Cold War with Russia and the height of the McCarthy era, and ever since then, Karl Marx is taught in Harvard and Yale and Cambridge and Oxford and Heidelberg University, because the scholars realized that he got, in theory, he got it right, analyzing capitalism. He got it right. And not all of his predictions turned out to be correct. He thought capitalism would fall before now. And he never thought an agrarian society could cause revolution. And Russia proved him wrong on that. But nonetheless, they study Marx, and they can be these people are not socialists or communists. They just go, when it comes to understanding class, Vicky, and the reasons that class is employed for distinctions, he's at the bottom of it is economy. And economy keeps class distinctions, essentially, to grossly paraphrase, how do you think the rich get rich?
that's true partially, and partially the other part would be, if you go to school for 12 years to become a doctor, you don't want to be washing dishes. So, you have to have somebody that you keep to wash dishes for you. Okay, so.
No, I'm not speaking about people who are financially comfortable. I'm
No,
speaking about.
I meant to have somebody to do the dirty jobs. That's what I was saying. You have to have somebody to.
There's the scene in Dr. Zhivago where he is confronted by someone who is berating him for all the money society spent on him, making him a doctor.
Okay. What was that about?
You think you're better than me just because you're smarter? No.
All right. Well, if it was left to the Angora Poets, we could do a very good job of rectifying so many of these problems, because I haven't heard a single one of us claim to be an expert or better than other people, just honest enough to say how we feel about what's wrong. And boy, that would be so badly needed without being censored or persecuted.
It's too late.
I can tell you
to fix things. It's too late to fix everything. It's too late by a few thousand years.
I can tell you in a few words that you should never, the only time you should ever look down on anyone is when you're looking down to give them a hand to pull them up. That's how I feel.
It's never too late, though.
If you're not looking down to pull them up, to help a person up. I never look down on anyone.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Well, I don't claim to see the future, but going back to when there were villages and everybody was in small groups, and the strong man of the village became the chief and got the shaman as his ally. That's where we went wrong, when they didn't hang those two.
Well, and then, the bus is driving towards the cliff. And the question is, how close to the damn cliff are we? Are the front wheels hanging over? If that's really where we are,
true.
Too late.
That's true.
Well, I tell you,
honest
See,
assessment.
I tell you one thing that bothers me a lot, and what bothers me a lot is you know I'm very tweaked, jerked around by all this bigotry and bias and racism and wars and money going to the top while the common person is unnecessarily denied a basic income, basic human needs like food, water, education. This is so unnecessary. This is greed. I don't care whether I went to school for 16 years. I got 3 PhDs. What am I worth if I value the fact that what I get from your labor and our systemic organization denies you basic human needs? Who the hell am I then? You know, just flaunting my degrees or as they're called now, the influencers.
Mm-hmm.
They get a new name for them now, the influencers. So, you know, anyway, if it was left to us, this would be a better world because we're better people. And with that in mind, I would like us to begin our second round. As you know, I've said thank you to the people listening live. And so I've done that part. I'd like to start our second round and I see a new person online. He's in the dark. Habib. Hello, Habib.
Hello, how are you doing, brother? How are you doing?
Well, we're having a good session tonight, as we do. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm a little bit busy with school, and we just started, we are back to school here in Morocco.
Right.
So,
okay. And when we call you to read, we want to congratulate you on how well your recent book is doing.
Thank you.
And how broadly published you have become as a result of the quality of your poetry and the popularity of your book. So I guess I let the cat out of the bag, but you may speak about it yourself when we call you on to present, okay?
Okay, sure.
So, all right. So, okay. So, all right. So let's begin and let us go into this second round with the return to the judge who renders his decisions from his laptop desk. That's Bill Stragmire, the judge.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. This is Caller. Where did it come from and where does it go? The swell, the wave that feels like God is in my soul, bringing such an urgency, gainsaying frailty like a song that stares the heart and could even move a nation. The tenor strong, and I hope for crescendo welling up, washing off into the past all sins and failures wept. Oh, it is this I wish to capture, wish to hold, and wish to share, adding it to love so strong as if a harmony could lift it to a higher good, a specter, but a faith so rich and high it could be known to all who live in need, to all who fear, to children when the doubts and hurt first come like clouds of poisoned rain that kill the sun and hide the moon. So grand and generous this promise I can feel that sings as if a woman's alto, strong and full of longing, striking just like this a warmth into my core. And when that singing's run its course and fails and falls, the ordinary that returns is just the way it is, as if the other'd never come or was just fun or fire. The holiness is lost and I forget, nostalgia's what is left. But could I keep it, hold it soft, would that be what we hope? If heaven had a purpose, would heaven sing like this?
I'd be glad to hear the song.
Awesome.
Sung by
Awesome, huh?
Emmylou Harris.
Okay. Okay, Billy, how about a second one, please?
Okay, let's see. Okay, I don't know if you remember Chris Ames, Mo. I have a quote from him. Love struggles to be born, and once it is, it says it was and grows thick bark, never giving in to that indelible lack. Call this nostalgia. A child one carried on a dusk-dim street, his eye beams fired out at me. I memorized the contract then, and since have kept the reason why. The affrighted marbles of his eyes, the glowing glare in his darkling gape, was how he saw the treasure won when thrust into our common air. The fiery fear, the empty weight could wait for end of day, remorse and joy a flapping prayer, were sins and blessings yet unborn. The virtue of his marble eyes was that he swallowed all the world he'd roll up in a ball for when the candle died. I bid you wait near the castle door at the crumbled, rotting hulk, with marble eyes and dark blue glare, as I will also wait your time. My love, my strength in hate and loss, a flame that fends off fear will last. I'll learn to keep the creed, I'll drive the foe away. As I look back and see myself with dark blue marble eyes, I know the joy of gain and loss at the circle and at the pole. And with marble eyes I regard as I slip my mind into a cyclical haze that lessens the pain of being kin to the common ghosts born back into here.
Well, wow. Your concentric circles of diversionary tactics. Okay.
Snap, 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 snap. Shake a
You
ray,
go,
shake a
Bill,
ray.
you go, Bill,
Yeah,
you go,
yeah.
Bill.
Applause meter. It's up.
Thank you, thank you. Touch my
Okay,
heart.
Billy. Virtually. Okay, Bill, how about a second one, please?
That was two.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, Jesus. What? It seems one and one equals one for me. I told you I am struggling with limited storage space. So, and then to make it worse, I was answering people who were commenting on the live feed. So thank you, Bill. And I hope to see you Thursday evening for our Poets in Person.
I have every intention.
Uh-oh, look out. The judge will be live in Paris Thursday night for the return of Angora Poets. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to a second person now. And I'll just guess the order best I can. And so let's come on with David Wilson, please.
Okay, right. Great to be here. I really want to be in Paris with the trio as soon as we're allowed to travel again. Yeah, we're not better off in the States than we were 4 years ago. We're not allowed to travel now. Let me lean in here. Contact. Note. God bless transpersonal perception, migraine flotation, and automobile verbatim. The devil take ye all sluggish crusaders, born again losers, broken down sheep herders. Nonsense, reality, relativity, unreal profanity, drunken sexuality, beastly surrender, phantasmical bliss, and no more war. Starseed, blast off, note, contact, yonder red goat doth laugh behind his beard. Absurd laurel blossoms dangle from the wab, and fibbing nightingales chirp by the fountain. The poet's life hangs in the balance of fate's mighty hand, a broken down man, seeking redemption amidst unwarranted projection, torn up sensation, intensified intoxication. Wake up, wild tamer, lots to do, renamer. The game is beginning all over again.
Well, sometimes it feels that way. The game is beginning all over again. As a collection of people, we have to identify with the rock of Sisyphus.
Indeed, we do. So, this is, for many years, I've been publishing this street flyer, the Rorschach page, which has really been really cool. It's because it's a single letter size page, double-sided, so it's forced me to concentrate in that space. And I've gotten to put a lot of poems out that way too. Here's another one. Asilomar Beach Meditations. Flying eyeball wings across the sky. The bleach blue sky of April, offset against the white sand. I walk upon this beach in the slow loping gait of many miles to go before I rest my weary bones. I hear the rhythm in the waves, just listening without analyzing, not particularly going anywhere. Understand, this is a miracle. Ain't it good to be alive? I rejoice in my poet's vision and regret not the times when demons torment me or emotions unhinge me or falsehoods deceive me. For these are necessary parts of the process. And only this ocean is eternal, the irregular rhythm of the waves, the manifestation of cyclic patterns, the diffuse blue light of a warm afternoon inspires one to calm meditations. Whilst one would bark at the moon that hangs in the dark sky, and both are reflections of one. Duality is illusion. All the same ocean. In this world of trickery, we trick ourselves, each of us, Buddha, eating pomegranate seeds. Enjoy the drama, dream of life, the poetry of it, and the ocean shall answer in its answer that is no answer.
The answer that is no answer. Well, okay.
Thank you, Angora Poets.
I can't claim to have the answer, so I wouldn't challenge you on that at all, my friend. All right, thank you, David. Now I would like to move thousands of miles away from San Francisco to West Africa and call on Benedicta. Hello, Benedicta, down there in Ghana.
Hi, Mo.
Hey, back again.
I'm here.
So
as usual, we'll go with Monoku.
Which is a one-line poem. Okay.
Okay. An entangled, justified embrace.
Okay. Now, would you read that again, please?
An entangled, justified embrace.
Okay.
That's the first one.
All right. And a second one, please.
An apparel of honor. He is an innocent soul of virtue, helmed in selfless kindness for all. Vehement errors, driven in shades of the past, overflowing tears, unfair roots of life, the whys of these mishaps, legacies of prominence yet to be natured. The mighty soldier of valor. That will be all.
Well, that would be a lot. And you know, Benedicta, one thing I have observed of the months with your poems, they sound as they sound impressive, spoken. When you get your book printed up, that's a book to read and reflect on in its brevity. It's so brief that it asks for one to quietly go back and reflect on a minimum of language. So I want to congratulate you on your skill at doing that.
And it is a skill. And for people that have short attention spans.
Thank you so much. Big thanks.
I was trying to say that, like how Mo always asks you to do it twice, because we have shorter attention spans, and usually when you do it twice, I catch it the second time. So if you wouldn't mind doing it a second time from now on, because
Right. And that's the value of those one-line
That's always
poems.
fine by me.
Okay, thanks.
And that's the value of one-line poems and haikus that they request of us, demand of us, that we go back and wallow in the brief significance of the language. And that's a skill, as we said.
It's a skill, and it's an art too. It's an art within itself.
Yes, it is. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm really learning a lot from everyone as well too. It makes me learn a lot, so it helps you to improve each time we meet.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I've heard lines from poets on Angora that I went, wow, I wish I had written that line, but I did not. So I did not. So thank you very much,
I also wish the
Benedicta.
same here too as well, because everyone has this kind of sleek, distinct thing about what you write. So what I also write, you would also love it, just as I would also love yours as well.
Well, what we need from you is to hear, see, and receive your first printed edition. So get on those people at B-Zine. You know, I will talk to them. They've published me in the past, and urge them, print this woman.
That's nice.
Okay. So there you
That
go.
would be nice.
And I'm glad you have your face back on screen. You look so nice with it.
Yeah,
you have a
so
smile
you see
wide.
me.
As we like to say, you got your smile wide as long as a country mile.
Really, thank you. Thanks for the compliment.
Yeah, we say that. That's a compliment.
I love your outfit as well.
Like this is my
your outfit is dashing. Yeah, it's stunning. Very, very nice.
There you go. This is from the bar that I do gigs in Paris, and
okay.
I feel good represented by this. It's very French, it's very beat, and it's very music. So that represents me very, very well. And so there we go. I'd like to have this T-shirt as a poster, but it's a large T-shirt. I wish it hung instead of me. We could see this. Mo and Monique. I call her Monique.
I hope it doesn't get missing. Then that means I came for it.
All right. And when you come to Paris, we'll have you wear one of these T-shirts, Benedicta.
For sure.
And you'll step up beat style with our jazz trio. So when we send you recordings of our jazz poetry concert this Thursday, hear yourself being able to recite within that context. Hear all of you able to recite in that context. And I say beat for you because you're very brief, and a lot of the beats would do actually in performance. Some would go very long. Some, like which I liked about Kerouac, would just drop 4 to 6 lines and let the music carry the theme, and then enter a couple lines and let the music come back and carry the theme, because he was confident that the music was expressing language and language was expressing music. Hey now, that was symbiotic. Okay. So now if we could go way, way further back to San Francisco, California, and ask Dane to please present.
Yes. Let me get this thing set up here. Would you like to dance with me? The words cannot come out of my mouth. I fall down drinking punch, junior high school punch, hummingbird feeder food, blood red number 2, so you can see it when it's gone. So you can miss it. It needs you to miss it, or you will not sleep all night long. I will read vapid, mindless today in Paris, hiding my private pain. Oh, stale, broken me. Who needs a roadmap? Just look me up on the socials. Hook me up to stumble. Me. Adjective me, intransitive me, pluperfect me, adverbial me. Stupid sorrow singer, warm up for the serving of cold guts. Teenage joke, ants, angst, ants. Zombie dialect alludes. Do you want to dance? Hack poems, flam the horrors, quick step, quick step. Here comes the vomit truck. It's a secret dance called the stumble. Dance the falling, tripping, dance, blindness, silent, dance with empty shirt, smell the faint, fading loss, shiver in the corner, backbeat, downbeat, backbeat, down. Shiver is the new step. It's all so exciting. The generation of useless. You cannot live without it. Prim, white, gloves, sepia, snapshot, gray, dead, you crazy. The dharma of broken things that never mend. The dharma of sunshine, the dharma of misty mountain, the dharma of none of that, the dharma of the door. Yes, one foot, the other is a boot, the kicking, busy, stumble, falling, get up, falling, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the wailing, the ruined, wrecking waltz. It's a direction, secret dance step, impossible to dance, yet simple by yourself. Just let it be falling. Satori Dolman, the long time holding, the stumble is a dharma. My own stumble, all my own, has its own damp steps. Do you know it too?
Okay. Are you a dharma bum, Dave?
No,
As described by Kerouac in the novel The Dharma Bums.
Yeah.
Those who seek a dharma bum. Dharma is seeking knowledge and enlightenment, and with the beats, Kerouac called them the dharma bums. Are you a dharma bum? That's a compliment.
Oh, well, thank you. No, I'm a Dharma Dane, and you're a Dharma Mo, and there's a Dharma Ben, and there's a Dharma Poet, Dharma Vicky, and there's a Dharma of everything. So, and then there's not a Dharma of everything. I think Mr. Wilson knows that.
Well, God Dharma it all. Dharma. Wow. Okay, cool.
Well done, Dane.
Thank you.
Well, we're beat. And hey, Vicky, that was very good timing because I'd like to call you next, Vicky.
Well, I lost some of my memento because I wanted Bill to hear this too. This is for all the men that didn't know why their girlfriend left them. And the name of this piece is called On the Rebound. And it's to these guys that don't understand, you don't leave the toilet seat up when you go to a woman's house or when you're living with a woman. The name of this piece is called On the Rebound.
Lay it down, sister. Lay it down.
This is why you want him to go home after lovemaking.
You got something out there.
All right, man, here we go. She's putting us on. Go ahead, Vicky.
Is it okay to love you and let you go till next time? I only wanted to taste the sweetness and avoid the bitter. We can make love to music and watch the mood changes of the sunset. Can I snuggle up on lavender sheets alone after you've gone home? Can I linger in the essence of your scent? Reminiscing about the hours before that we spent. Is it okay for me to selfishly call you? Continue to show you my gratitude by giving you good phone? I hope so. I only wanted to taste the sweetness and avoid the bitter. My tolerance level subsides when you leave my bedside and you go into the bathroom and you get on your cell phone. Will it still be okay for me to call you when I need you? Is it all right with you to eat my good cooking, share a meal, give praises to my special dish, make love to me again, sip wine, and then say farewell till we meet again? You know how I am. I like your company, but I also like my space. But if and when you leave that toilet seat up again, I do not know what I might do or say. I can say whatever good feeling I had. Well, the mood, it changed. Whatever good feeling I felt, the mood, well, it changed. We women hate when men leave toilet seats up like forever ago. Back since grandma had indoor plumbing, you've known that to be a no-no. And those little shavings, those little man hairs unnerve me. And the piss around the toilet floor as if marking your spot. I'll be transformed into a termagant. I will cuss and rant if you piss around the sides as if using a urinal. Or leave the seat up. I can't handle that and cannot be held responsible, especially if I fall into the latrine late at night. I'll feel disrespected, guaranteed. I'll become real mean and cause a scene because you're a visitor and you won't keep my bathroom clean. So is it fine with me if you make love and leave? Call me when you get home. Let's make this the last. Don't stick around. See you next time. I love you, baby, but I'll catch you on the rebound when once again we'll make love to music and watch the mood change of the sunset. In peace.
Oh, okay, yeah, on that.
It's nice.
That's some straight talk. I've been yelled at for it, the toilet seat. I admit it. I try not to dribble on the floor. I do try not to do that. Okay, man, we are put on notice again.
Y'all just don't know how bad it feels to go in the bathroom late at night and go sit down and fall straight into the latrine. It's horrible. You really can't go back to sleep.
Woman, where was you born? Northern Florida? Falling into the latrine.
I call it latrine because I wrote it for the men to understand. That's what they call it in the Army.
Yeah, okay, good enough. All right, and you are in Northern Florida, so.
Right.
Okay, back there with the Gators.
And you heard me say about the outhouse. We used to have outhouse in Florida.
Yeah, indeed. All right, Vicki, man, thanks for representing.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to cross continents and oceans again.
I'm going to do my second piece. Wait a minute. I'm going to do my second piece.
Oh, I would be wrong to have forgotten you do a second.
I know
Slap me, woman.
Yeah. Okay, the second piece is written by my son. It's called A Poem for You, Mama, from your son. And it's to me. It goes like this. My shining star, my guiding light, the one that made me stand and fight. The one who taught me to rely on self. The one who showed me the herbs and spices to heal myself. Even when separated, I could feel your vibe. The one who showed me black pride. The shining star was in the struggle. My shining star, show me how to hustle. My shining star is now in pursuit. Her sound is different, and mine is too. Yet we come from the exact same flute. My shining star, no matter where you are, no matter where you be, when things get thick, you know where I am. Like the time your man put his hands on you and I kicked his ass black and blue. Like when I went to prison and came home with a vision, straight to you. You showed me the world at an early age. Those little things left me unafraid. You showed me different cultures, took me way out into the ocean waters, just me and you, and your lovely daughter. May she rest in peace. My shining star, you are my light. I may not say this enough through all the drama, but I just wrote this to let you know and always know that I love you, Mama. In peace.
Yeah.
That's touching.
Yeah. You must be so proud to have your son write that to you.
Yeah, I had 2 children, and as everybody might know or might not know, my daughter passed away. I had only 1 girl, 1 boy, and my daughter was the mushroom queen, and she did her whole life's work on the mushrooms, and even found out that mushrooms can eat up toxic waste. So we had a lot, we miss her a lot, and he had mentioned her in the poem too. So when I read the poem, I get a little dose of both of my children. And my son was a handful. He's a boxer and a kung fu fighter and all like that. And he he doesn't always show me that he loves me, but that poem just really touched me in so many ways. Thank you for letting me share.
You said she
Thank you so
ate
much for sharing.
mushrooms?
She was a mushroom farmer, an urban mushroom farmer. She studied mushrooms and grew them and found out that, we always ate mushrooms. She always cooked them, but we found out that mushrooms
Was
could clean up.
poisonous.
No, not poisonous ones, the edible ones. And they could also clean up toxic waste, like lead in the soil and other things like that. She did her whole life work was around the mushrooms. We still have her farm, it's still here. And we still go over to her farm. Yeah. So yeah, you can look her up on Facebook and on YouTube. Her name was Kai, Kai Wingo, Kai Wingo. She has lectures and stuff on Facebook and on YouTube.
Very nice, Vicki. And might I add, hallucinogenic mushrooms were one of the greatest experiences I've ever encountered. Oh yeah.
I'm afraid of eating them myself.
Well, Benedicta, you have to learn them to know which ones are edible. And they do different things. Some are medicinal, some are edible, and some are, like he said, hallucinogenic. But they're good for that, too, for a lot of different things. You have to study them, actually.
Okay. So with that introduction to mushroomology, we're going to move now. We're going to move across the ocean, across the continent, to the Berber capital of Morocco, and we are going to hear from our poet, and who often does jazz poetry, and has published a book. And so, Habib, hello, you're on.
Hello, thank you so much, bro Mo. I would like to, just before I signed on, joined you here, we were practicing a Berber song with some members of my band, so they are still here, in fact. And I would like to invite them to accompany me while reading my Arabic translation of Bob Kaufman, which is going to be the book, it's from the Ancient Rain, and it's going to be published in next week or in 2 weeks. I just received the cover last night. So I'm calling on my friends there.
Well, no finer poet to eulogize than the beat poet Bob Kaufman, who was the strongest voice in beat literature for jazz. He was the strongest voice.
Absolutely. He's one of my best poets, and he inspires me a lot. And that's why I would love to translate his work into Arabic, and why not Berber later on, Amazigh. By the way, Berber has been a word used by the Western colonizers for a long time. So Amazigh is the right word for all the North African people, including Mali and other places. So the Berbers. So my friend,
thank you for correcting us on that, because we need corrected on that. So thank you. So here's to we welcome you. I hope fellow band members, if you can hear me, you are more than welcome to perform tonight for us, because poetry and music make a natural marriage.
okay, so by the way, this instrument is called the rebab. The one who's playing there, and of course you recognize the banjo.
We're losing volume, Habib. We're losing volume.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I hear you very well. We've lost volume from the instrument.
Oh, okay.
So now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. هذه الأيام والأسابيع، هذه الأيام والأسابيع التي لا يمكن العثور عليها على أي رزنامة، هذه الساعات والدقائق التي لا علم للساعة بها، عندما تتقيأ كل تلك السفن المتصدعة للماضي، تلك التي اختفت في قعر الحياة منذ زمن، أحزانها كي تهيج هذا الألم بالذكرى، وهي تحرس الأحلام الغارقة. الذعر يلفنا معا يا روحي، لا شيء آخر سيأتي، لا أستطيع أن أصف هذياني، وأسوأ من ذلك لا أقدر على الفرار. الجدار هو كل شيء، تقطعني سكاكين لا أراها، تلسعني النحلة اللاسعة، لا يسعني سوى أن أنزف في صمت آلامي خدرها الإجلال. أين تخفينهم كلهم يا روحي؟ إلى متى ستصمدين؟ أي سؤال غبي هذا؟ هل يمكن لبني البشر أن يعرفوا يوما؟ أسنان مسعورة تتخذ أشكالا بشرية وتلوك حبي، ممزقة إياه إلى فتات. ولا أستطيع أن أفعل شيئا يا روحي سوى أن أنتظر مزقها بالمخالب، متوسلا أن يقاوم لحمي إلى النهاية، وأن يطمئن عقلي المغتم في استغراب، وينجو حبي من هذه الألغاز الغاشمة، وأن أرضيك يا روحي فقط أنت وحدك. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And we've gotten a couple requests to ask you, Habib, if you would read that, if you could read that poem in English.
Sure. It's okay. Called These Days and Weeks. Okay, These Days and Weeks. Which page is that? Let me just see. It's page 10. So, okay. Yes. These days and weeks. These days and weeks that cannot be found on any calendar. These hours and minutes unknown to the clock, when all those rusting ships of the past, long gone to the bottom of life, guarding the sunken dreams, cast up their sorrows to swell this grief with memory. Terror is around us, both my soul. Nothing else will come. I cannot describe the horrors, and worse, I cannot flee. A wall is all. I am hacked by knives I do not see, stung by stinging bee. I can only bleed in silence. My pains are numb with admiration. Where do you keep them all, my soul? How long can you stand? What question is this being asked? Can humans ever know? Mad teeth are in the form of man and chew my life to bits, and I can do nothing, my soul, but wait their clawing cut, asking only that my flesh holds, and my anguished mind's reassurance and surprise, and my love survive these brutal enigmas, that I please you, my soul, if only you alone. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot. This is from the Ancient Rain.
Okay, it's
Yes.
nice.
That was awesome. That's very beautiful. I'm glad you interpreted it because I really enjoyed that.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. I'm delighted.
Yeah. And I have a copy of that in Ancient Rain too. It was given to me by a beat poet who lived with Kaufman in New York, in the New York loft.
Wonderful.
When Kaufman was, yeah, and his name is Dick Deronio, and he gave me a copy of Ancient Rain, and the second chapbook that Kaufman came out with. I keep them as valuable treasures.
Wonderful.
Habib, that's an extensive library you got going back there. Where are you? Is that the library in your house?
This is my place.
The library is extensive. Wow.
It's
how many books you have back there?
I think I have something almost like 1,000.
Wow, very impressive.
Thanks a lot.
And you know, Habib collects books in various languages. And when I met him, wow, how was it? How many years ago in Paris, when we met and instantly took to one another. It turns out Habib has been sharing his books with the people that live around him who cannot get access to those books. So that is truly a lending library.
Right. Yep. I share them with my colleagues, the teachers of English around here and in the city and in other Moroccan cities, and with my students, the ones who could read, some of these are things that we read, all of us. So I teach in high school, and English is a fourth language for the people. So
beautiful.
So
wow. Okay.
I wanted to ask, your ancient reigns, has it got anything to do with archaeology, the mummy, those kind of stuff? Or what does it entail?
I think it's a metaphor that Bob Kaufman used to say that there will come something that will clean. So he's imagining what will happen to America. The last poem in this collection is called actually The Ancient Reign. And
would you care to read that to us, please?
Sure. It's an amazing poem. I read, without boasting, I've read a lot of poets, of course, the people that we read together, but I fell in love with Bob Kaufman the first time I met him. This is a copy sent by my friend who did the editing, Raymond Foy, when he came to visit me here, because he was also living in San Francisco with Bob Kaufman in the 80s, late in the 70s, early 80s. He lived some time with Bob, together with Neely Cherkovsky as well, who's a San Francisco poet. So I've been keeping in touch with these great poets. So this for me is not just a lifestyle. It's something that I believe in personally and would like to carry on and share with the coming generations of Moroccan poets, writers, laymen.
Amen.
So it's a signed.
Okay.
Great.
Oh, Habib, be sure
nice.
be sure to find me on Facebook under the same name. I want to dig in deeper with you.
Sure, I will. Okay. We are friends with most. We've been friends for almost.
Yeah, my name is on here. You can see it on the thing. Vicky Aqua, spelled just like that. Find me on Facebook.
Okay, I will add you right away.
All right. So now with the poem, please.
The ancient reign of the illusion world that has come into existence, of world that exists secretly, as meanwhile the humorous Nazis on television will not be as laughable, but be replaced by silent and blank TV screens. At this time, the dead nations of Europe and Asia shall cast up the corpses from the graveyards they have become. But today, the ancient rain falls from the far sky. It will be white. It will be white like the rain that fell on the day Abraham Lincoln died. It shall be red rain like the rain that fell when George Washington abolished monarchy. It shall be blue rain like the rain that fell when John Fitzgerald Kennedy died. They will see the bleached skeletons that they have become. By then, it shall be too late for them. All the symbols shall return to the realm of the symbolic, and reality become the meaning again. In the meantime, masks of life continue to cover the landscape. Now, on the landscape of the dead earth, the Luftwaffe continues to fly into Volkswagens through the asphalt skies of death. It shall be black rain, like the rain that fell on the day Martin. It shall be the ancient rain that fell on the day Franklin Delano Roosevelt died. It shall be the ancient rain that fell when Nathan Hale died. It shall be the brown rain that fell on the day Crispus Attucks died. It shall be the ancient rain that fell on July 4th, 1776, when America became alive. In America, the ancient rain is beginning to fall again. The ancient rain falls from a distant secret sky. It shall fall here in America, which alone remains alive on this earth of death. The ancient rain is supreme and is aware of all things that have ever happened. The ancient rain shall be brilliant yellow as it was on the day Custer died. The ancient rain is the source of all things. The ancient rain knows all secrets. The ancient rain illuminates America. The ancient rain shall kill genocide. The ancient rain shall bring death to those who love and feel only themselves. The ancient rain is all colors, all forms, all shapes, all sizes. The ancient rain is a mystery known only to itself. The ancient rain filled the seas. The ancient rain killed all the dinosaurs and left one dinosaur's skeleton to remind the world that the ancient rain is falling again. The ancient rain splits nations that have died in the ancient rain. Nations so that they can see the culture of the living dead they have become. The ancient rain is falling on America now. It shall kill W.H. Griffith and the Ku Klux Klan. Hollywood shall die in the ancient rain. This nation was born in the ancient rain, July 4, 1776. The ancient rain shall cause the Continental Congress to be born again. The ancient rain is perfection. The ancient rain cured the plague without medicine. The ancient rain is vindictive. The ancient drops are volcanoes and in one moment destroyed Pompeii and brought Tsar down. And now Tsar is fallen. This Roman Empire is no more. The ancient rain falls silently and secretly. The ancient rain leaves mysteries that remain and no man can solve. Easter Island is a lonely place. The ancient rain wets people with truth, and they expose themselves to the ancient rain. Egypt has a silent sphinx and pyramids made of death chambers so that Egypt remembers the day the ancient rain drowned it forever. The mummies no longer speak, but they remember the fury of the ancient rain. Their tombs have been sewed in pieces and moved to the graveyard to make way for the pool of ancient rain that has taken their place. The ancient rain saw Washington standing at Appomattox, and it fell on Lee as he laid down his sword. The ancient rain fell on the Confederacy, and it was no more. The ancient rain fell on the Confederacy, and it was no more. The ancient rain is falling again. The ancient rain is falling on the waves of immigrants who fled their homelands to come to this home of ancient rain, to be free of tyranny and hunger and injustice, and who now refuse to go to school with Crispus Attucks. The ancient rain knows they were starving in Europe. The ancient rain is falling. It is falling on the NATO meetings. It is falling on the red square. Will there be war or peace? The ancient rain knows but does not say. I make speculations of my own, but I do not discuss them because the ancient rain is falling. The ancient rain is falling in the time of a war crisis. People of Europe profess to want peace as they prepare day and night for war, with the exception of France and England. Of course, this has to be put in history, the historical context. They are part of the NATO alliance. I believe that Russia wants war. Russia supports any communist nations to war with weapons and political stances on behalf of any communist political move. This will eventually lead to war, a war that shall make World War III the largest war ever. It continues on and on for like 5 pages more.
Yes, it does. Hey, that was well done. Let's give him a hand. Let's give Habib a hand and Bob Kaufman a hand.
And the musicians, the musicians a hand. Thank you for
Very, very
music.
good. Very, very good. Very good.
You know what this is, people? This is shamanism. That I have not listened. I've read this book before. This is shamanistic. The thing that this reminds me of in literature is the account Black Elk Speaks. Black Elk Speaks also talked about how the forces of the earth would come back and reclaim the natural function of the earth and redeem the good peoples of the earth. And this is so much like Black Elk Speaks.
Absolutely.
So,
And when he said that rain had vengeance, I thought about acid rain.
yeah, yeah, because when nature, hey, you know, tsunamis, floods, hail, nature is two-sided, as the Greeks had tried to teach us. The Greeks tried to teach us that through the personalities of their gods. And the Hindus do the same. And the Hindus do the same. So thank you so much, Habib. And again, a big shout out to your musician friends.
Yes,
of course,
the musicians. Yes. Yay.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Hey, fellas, you guys were cool, man. You guys were very cool.
Enjoyed
Let me
musical.
just throw in real
Yeah,
quick.
David.
I was looking for some Bob Kaufman biograph, which I posted a link in the chat, and I also came across a little clip of him reading. So later on, you all might want to check that out and see Bob Kaufman himself reading.
Right. Sure. And you want to know a reason why, Habib, you should join us more often. I know you're doing so much, is because this group of poets will definitely follow up, as you've seen in the response tonight, by wanting to know when your book comes out, wanting to be able to get it, and wanting to hear you come on live like we do.
Yes, yes.
Like we do. And I only regret,
really enjoy that.
I only regret that Habib and his group could not be with us Thursday night when I relaunch Angora Poets at a bar in Jazz Trio.
They will.
I know you know it. Huh?
I will invite them. We live in the same village. They are teachers and musicians. So we live in the same village. So I will invite them.
Please do. Please do. They're more than welcome.
Sure.
And carry on with the reclamation of Amazigh culture and Amazigh language and the struggle for equal rights of the Amazigh people.
I saw him holding a flute. He didn't play
it. No, he was holding a banjo.
Okay, that's the name.
Yeah, a banjo.
Yeah, banjo.
Okay.
Yep.
And I duly remember when I so remember being invited to your town for the international for 100,000 Poets for Change.
Yep.
And these poets who study under Habib and other people were rendering in up to 4 languages. Okay, I witnessed that. That is so true, what he says. So, all right, would like to carry on with this discussion for longer, but I have some other very good poets waiting in the wings, and I would like to call them on now, okay?
Sure.
So we're going to do that. And so next I would like to call on Jack Cooper. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Mo. Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Hello.
Jack.
Hi, Benedicta.
I thought you were off to sleep with nightmares following.
Excuse me?
I thought you had run off to sleep. I was saying that you would have nightmares.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's raining here, of course.
We miss rain here.
Yeah, it's a modern rain.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So, hold on. I have something to offer in a, well, it's called Ars Misericordia.
Which means to us undereducated, what would that mean?
That would be the art of misery.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. Song is all, misery everywhere. Nothing else matters if the fractional soul exceeds the sum of its parts. Death, be not afeared. This life is full of moans. Addiction takes ambition's place. Habit forms around release from what ails you, what does not avail you. The addict, but artist, unrelieved, incapable of retreat from pain. Temporary surcease of longing, never to be satisfied, and therefore indistinguishable, the very toil of unrelenting need.
All right, Jack. All right. Good one. Good one. And would you follow that with a second one, please?
I will, in fact. On a somewhat lighter note, let me just find it. It's called In the Garden. The pine needle floor bearing imprint of a stranger, its sigh coming to meet the air. Little butterfly, the sweet and lingering orange. Stealth meets silence, and it bounds. Whispered breezes pass secrets, leaves keep for each other. And I kneel for her. Pray she will be as my wish granted, gaining that she only may feel.
Secrets that leaves share with one another. That's cool. That's cool with a capital C.
Thank you, Mo.
Cool with a capital C, Jack. All right. Well, thank you, and hope to see you Thursday night.
I think you will. Yeah.
I hope so. It'll be a pleasure.
Okay.
You Angora Poets living in Paris to come up live again. Oh, that'll be such a treat.
Yeah, really.
And speaking of another Paris Angora poet, let us now call on Claire Andriani. Hello, Claire.
Hello.
There she is.
Hello again. I will read to you. I think someone needs to be muted. I will read. He thought he could.
No, wait, hold on. Habib, are you
Yeah.
there? Calling Habib. If you could mute, sir, we could hear you in the background. Thank you.
He thought he
Claire.
could. Yeah. He thought he could take away all my poetry with him, but the stars of sound and beauty were always more appealing to me. The surface, a million times less important than my spirit in flesh. No need to ask for peace. My body knows the importance of an idea, so sensuous, like a land caressing my soul. Compared to a tongue and little fingers, how base, how earthly. Compared to the power of sound, the pleasure of the heart speaking.
Thank you, Claire. The pleasure of the heart speaking. Nice. Can you give us another one, Claire?
Yeah, one that is called Silver Blue. Silver Blue is the friend of silence. Your thigh resting on my chest, I feel the freshness of this dark evening envelop me in a silent symphony. You compose and I play the music, reinterpreting every sound, every syllable like it was mine. The different notes of my soul are vibrating with truthfulness. I shift like a boat without purpose and hear the music of your pen on my breast. Before it goes out, and I sing like I am the first light between you and me, the first light before music. I breathe blue notes that vanish in the open air, between light and darkness, before you and me, before the beginning of everything.
Wow. Somebody's a very lucky person.
Bravo.
Somebody's a very lucky person. All right, Claire. Well, peeps, well, Benedicta fell off here. Let's get her back on. Click. All right. Okay, now I am the last one remaining, and because of the hour, I will read simply one poem. And I have read it. I have read it before, but I just got word that it's going to be a podcast feature. So I feel good about that, and so I'll read it to you right now. I wrote this poem in reaction to a reading in progress in Paris when the sentiment was predominant that night, the postmodernist, which is it's all been done before, nothing makes a change, and we're basically resigned to repeating ourselves in endless cycles. And the best the poet can do is express themselves as an individual and not to proclaim some unity beyond oneself. This was a predominant theme that night. So I wrote this on a tabletop, and it goes like this. I give you my word. I seek no place among you. Take comfort as I can offer you none. Comfort is the sleep of dull dreams. I share you our nightmares, waking to radio fuck at 4 a.m. in my head. It's not safe in here on an honest night. Safety is for the complacent. Here we should seek sanctuary or witness those drowning in the empty vessels of themselves. I come to comfort the disturbed, to disturb the comforted. Listen to the poet. You have nothing to fear but the naked truth. Now lies, they do settle with the many, and we must look behind, see the long shadows of the past. Dirty saints, bloody angels on our best days. Step beside yourself. Go out in the rain. Get wet with what is. I am not your entertainer, not your minstrel show dancer. I do not necessarily line up at art openings, though I do want the olives and the cheese. Hear the poet who will defy the high priests, who will ask, where are the intellectuals when all hell breaks loose, hiding in their academies and correcting my bad language? Hear the poet who would reveal the dirty secrets. Hear the poet who would climb through the muck to get in the light. The poet who would stand before you and defy your slavers and defend our rightful destiny. It is the song, it is the dance within you. Be that poet. Keep the beat on the pulse of life.
Well done.
Thank you
Keep
very
it
much.
up.
Thank you. So
Anyway,
that's
you
good.
still get nightmares today.
Well, thank you.
And the cheese.
And I will be glad to, I don't know, I wish I could, when that comes up as a, which it's supposed to be a video podcast or something, that poem, I will try to transfer it here so it's audible, because there will be sound effects and other things put to it. All right. So here we've wrapped up another session of Angora Poets, and it's been awesome for me to hear, and I hope it's been memorable and impressionable for all of you to hear, because and what I've been taking great delight in, people, is, you know, Mo Tariq Anis, he records these, he's our tech poet co-host. He records these sessions, as you know, and we put them on Angora Poets YouTube. And you know, I turn it on in the morning and I listen to this at a distance where I have no responsibilities of hosting or checking the live feed comments. And I am thoroughly, thoroughly impressed and delighted with the caliber of all of you. I am just so very, very proud to be one member among the rest of you as the Angora Poets. And so I want to tell you, everybody, thank everybody. Thank you so, so much. So, so much.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Nightmares, 1001 nightmares for everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mo, as always.
You're welcome, Jack. Like I said, thank everybody.
Parents, people have a great Thursday.
And in the future, I'm going to invite Dion Bennett, who sings soul and jazz out of the UK, to actually sing some poetry for us. And we have some comics that do one-liners, and I think it'd be nice to invite a comic on for a change, to do some satire on the world we live in, just to mix it up, because
Mo.
it certainly won't threaten. It certainly won't threaten us as poets. Yes, Vicki.
How many times do you have to be a guest before you become a member?
Oh, well, I don't understand that. There's no official membership. There's just a consensus that if you're a working poet and you have meaningful poetry, you are simply welcome to Angora Poets, young or old, published or unpublished. And that's what qualifies somebody as a participant or as you like, a member.
Okay, I just want to know if I was officially an Angora poet or am I a guest?
Well, you are on this. You've been on this Zoom for months, and you're invited every week. That might tell you something, Vicky.
Okay, just wanted to qualify because I wasn't sure. I want to go around telling people I'm something, and then they say, she's not an Angora poet. She just came on a couple of times. No, okay. That's okay.
Well, just remember
well, thank
that.
you. Now I feel official. I feel official now. Say no more.
Okay, because we're proud to be Angora Poets, but we do not claim to be any better or any worse than anyone else. We're just simply who we are.
Excuse me, I have my my title now, so I'm okay.
Okay, all right, you got it.
I'm an Angora poet. Yes, I am.
All right, you sure are. Okay, glad to hear that. So we'll be back, as I said, Thursday. I'm going to relaunch Angora Poets in the flesh and the phoneme here in Paris with my jazz trio accompanying poets. And then next Sunday, we're back on the Zoom. And I encourage you all to repost our invitations on your news feed, because again, here's something. The quality, the individual and collective quality of Angora Poets is gaining traction in New York and London and other places because of you, not because of money, not because of publicity, simply because people are noticing so many quality poets that come week after week. So that's why we ask you to post our invites simply, where it does cost nobody nothing, and let someone who knows you go, wow, he or she is a good poet, and they're participating in Angora, so that we can make room for other good poets. Because remember, this ain't the Gong Show. That's for open stages, where anybody can do anything they like. So anyway, that's what I have to say, and just want to again say how happy I am to be part of this. Oh yeah.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, World Cafe people. Thank you. Wellness to everyone, please. Wellness, love, peace, and justice.
Thank you.